I still post a bond.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, February 10th, 2019. This is your award-winning Gizmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1111.
This is No Agenda.
Making a wish on the numbers and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're all celebrating the birthday of George Stephanopoulos, I think. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
So we have this great show. It's episode 1111. 1111. 1111 is a magical number. We start at 1111 Austin time, and you're going to bring in George Stephanopoulos' birthday?
It's also the day in 1763 that France ceded Canada to England at the Treaty of Paris, ending the French and Indian War.
Well, this is, of course, very important.
Well, the thing about this, the second thing, is that were the Indians fighting on behalf of Britain?
Yes, I believe they were, if I recall my history correctly.
Well, how did the Brits manage to pull that off?
I don't know. Anyway, here we are, 1111.
1111.
1111. We've been talking about this for a while now, this 1111. And I don't know if everyone has this. We've discussed it before, but so often I will look at a digital clock and it will say 1111. And it's not just me. It's people all over the globe witness this all the time. 1111, and you're supposed to make a wish and it will come true. So I see the 1111 constantly too. I mean, you just see it. I mean, you're just so many hours in the day. It's going to happen twice a day. Yeah.
And it's usually before you go to bed and, after you get up.
It is kind of a good time. Well, 11, I don't know, is that like coffee time? Is that why people might catch it more?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the clock. But 11:11, I only recently heard that you make a wish.
Oh.
I've squandered probably 100 wishes.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe more.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, our wishes come true. At least mine has.
Yeah.
I just want to do another show. I'm like, will we get to do
it? Come true. I'm still alive to do a show.
I got another show to go. I'm very, very happy. And Tina and I, the keeper, we had dinner with the former New York banker and his wife Friday night.
Oh, that must have been entertaining.
Yes, I come from the coal mine, where the canary has spoken to me.
What has the canary said?
Well, there's three topics, three big topics. And he was, I think...
One!
Yes, sure. I think they both may have either been there signiantly before us, or maybe they took a car service. I think they were loose. the former New York banker is loose, man.
Too early.
You gotta jump in right away. So first of all, it's like, ha, Trump did it. So what do you mean? He screwed New York. What are you talking about? Oh, wow. Everyone's all in a tizzy about the 2.
That would definitely get my attention.
Yes. Everyone's in a tizzy about the $2.8 billion tax deficit. And he's telling me, he's like, that's because of the Trump taxes. I said, you just figuring this out? I said, you didn't realize that the state and local taxes cap, that wasn't to screw New York and California? I guess he hadn't thought about it.
Oh, you're talking about that cap, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cap is what everyone ignores. I mean, of course, we were right onto it almost immediately because we have one of our producers is a local superstar CPA. He works in the Bay Area, I believe.
The anonymous gay, as we call him.
And another anonymous gay? Huh.
Well, the anonymous gay I know is the accountant.
Oh, the anonymous guy I know is a lawyer. But okay.
Well, maybe we should introduce him to each other.
They get along famously.
You never know.
But this guy told us right off the bat, there goes the Zephyr, told us right off the bat.
On time today, too.
That because of this cap on property taxes, it's really is a tax on the rich.
Yeah.
But nobody wanted to bring it up. None of these analysts wanted to bring it up. None of these superstars, none of these pundits, none of these people on the networks wanted to bring it up because it would be against their narrative. We're trying to save money. No, the rich are generally burdened with a lot of property.
Yeah.
And they pay a lot of property tax.
Oh, what a burden.
You used to be able to write it off. Now you can't.
Yeah, exactly. And so this apparently was a surprise to everybody.
I guess they're listening to reading the New York Times, not listening to the show.
If they'd listened to the show, they wouldn't have gotten so screwed. Okay, second thing. He said, and we weren't really talking politics. He was just blurting stuff out across the table. It's like, okay, this is, and I was drinking too. So I'm like, oh, right. Remember, I'm taking notes under the table. I was like, I'm going to forget this. He says, just so you know, Stacey Abrams is no Maxine Waters. I said, what? Yes, Stacey Abrams. Did you see her? Did you see her give the reply to the State of the Union? Said, yeah, of course I did. You mean on the green screen? And all that. Said, she's smart, man. And he kept saying she's no Maxine Waters. I said, why do you say that? Well, just on the show, it's like, hey, we don't see every black woman as a moron Maxine Waters. We're not racist. So I finally calm him down over that. He's like, oh yeah, no,
it's all agitated.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I mean, I guess he's trying to give me a message, and I appreciate it. And he doesn't listen a lot to the show, I don't think. I think he checks in from time to time. And so, his feeling is probably, well, I like Adam, he's racist, and
he's a racist
he's
pig.
a racist pig.
Blacks.
So he hates black,
dogs,
women, dogs, blacks, everything. So I have to tell him again to make sure he understands Stacey Y. Abrams is no Maxine Waters. I know. I said, she wrote an article. Yes, the article in Foreign Policy Magazine. That was brilliant. I said, the one where she says identity politics brings us closer together. She's smart. Be on the lookout for her. Now, the reason I bring it up today is because he travels in circles. He travels in circles where they
not our circles,
where they don't know and maybe don't care that the New York State real estate taxes were not deductible or not after $10,000. But also, he's like Beto. Remember, he was all over Beto very early on. Beto.
Yeah.
But it's not Beto. It is Stacey Abrams. And he says...
He's going to run her for president?
No, Chuck's going to run her for Senate, he thinks. But it could get so crazy that they could swoop her in depending on how things go.
Oh, brother.
And confirmed for your information... she is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Of course. Well, that's why she wrote in the magazine.
Yes.
It's generally reserved for those people to signal. It's for signaling. Hey, here we.
Well,
read this, read between the lines. You'll get the picture, and now go out and do your job.
Well, so we need to keep our eye on Stacey Abrams because she is anointed.
Did you ask him? Did you say to him, why is a woman, some random black politician in Georgia, a member of the Council on Foreign Relations?
I didn't know that. I didn't have this information at the time.
Well, now you use it next time.
But the third thing was what kind of caught me off guard. Trump's going down with this Bezos thing. It's over. It's like, what?
What?
It's over. Trump's going down with the Bezos thing. I was like, what are you talking about? And there's this theory that this entire fracas over the dick pics that the National Enquirer, or more precisely American Media Incorporated, has apparently been blackmailing Jeff Bezos over, that if they find out, and I'm just giving you his version, if law enforcement discovers that this was done illegally.
Oh, yeah, this is what they're talking about.
There's a couple of things. So first, the National Enquirer made a deal with the Justice Department after the payoff of Karen McDougal for $150,000.
Yeah.
And they made a deal that didn't have to admit any fault, but they also would not be accused of political motivations. And they have, I think it's a 3-year period. If they break any law, then American media basically is over. And then I guess the Justice Department would come in and bankrupt them and God knows what. So somehow he was just went on about, Bezos heavily secured, he's got the best security details and all this. Dude, he's sending dick pics to a girlfriend. I mean, do you know how many places that could? No. If they find, no, it could be the girlfriend. I said, yeah, but here's where the mainstream media is trying to tie this in, that the other woman, shall we say, Sanchez, I think her last name is, that her brother has links to Roger Stone.
Well, the whole thing could be a Roger Stone thing.
No.
I'm just saying it's possible you could think that.
But, and anyway, so he's just going on. It's like, if this comes out, it'll be over. It'll be obstruction of justice. I'm like, dude, no way.
Suborning something or other is more like it.
So what is happening now is, and Bezos,
these dreamers, and how they have to. Everything has to relate to Trump, and everything has to have something to do with him going down.
Well, I would like you to check with your LibJoe friends to see if they're picking up on the same vibe.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
But what Jeff Bezos did, for those of you who didn't catch it.
I have a couple clips.
Oh, good. Let's do that then. You have a backgrounder so we can really understand.
Both of them are backgrounders. There's two versions, and they're not the same because there's a different angle on each one. Mm-hmm. You can play one or the other or both. But Bezos and Texts CBS. This is the basic story.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos claims the owner of the National Enquirer tried to blackmail him. Here's Tony DeCopel.
AMI, the publisher of National Enquirer, is on the defense after being publicly accused of threatening to run lewd photos of world's richest man, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, and TV host Lauren Sanchez, a woman he was having an affair with. In a blog post on Thursday, Bezos revealed emails he says are from AMI, threatening to publish compromising images, including at least 2 naked selfies of him. Bezos says it was part of a politically motivated hit, which the publisher denies. Wired editor-in-chief Nick Thompson.
The technical question is, how the heck did the National Enquirer get these pictures?
Because of the allegations of threats Bezos made public, AMI may have violated the terms of a non-prosecution deal inked with federal officials after an investigation into campaign finance violations. AMI admitted it paid Karen McDougal $150,000 to silence her claims of an affair with Donald Trump before he was president. Sources tell CBS News prosecutors in the Southern District of New York are looking into the allegations made by Bezos that AMI chief David Pecker is trying to extort and blackmail him. AMI said it acted lawfully and said it's launching its own probe to promptly and thoroughly investigate the claims. Actor Terry Crews tweeted on Friday that AMI tried to silence him, and journalist Ronan Farrow says he also faced blackmail efforts from AMI. For his part, Bezos hired a security expert to uncover how his texts were accessed.
He's Jeff Bezos. He probably knows good cybersecurity. So the question of how the pictures got from Bezos or Sanchez to the National Enquirer has huge political and possibly geopolitical consequences.
There it is.
The Bezos divorce, worth tens of billions of dollars, is not yet finalized. And Rena, he and his wife of 25 years announced their separation after the Enquirer said it was about to release texts between Bezos and Sanchez.
Everyone wants to know how they got those texts.
Indeed.
This is it. And you and I were like, who gives a crap? I don't think about how they got the text. But this is, if we can find out that there's a link to Trump, he's going down. And
actually, this clip means a lot more now that you had that dinner. I'm glad you did it, because I didn't think in those terms that they're thinking this is like a bigger deal than it is. First of all, let's talk about a couple of, well, actually, we can play the other clip.
I'd like to hear the second clip.
Yeah, let's hear the other clip too. Then we really need to discuss this so people have some understanding of where the National Enquirer fits in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
And also, I also want to talk about McDougal and Farrow, but okay.
The world's richest man, Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, has publicly accused the owner of the National Enquirer of extortion and blackmail. Bezos recently hired a private investigator to determine how the tabloid newspaper obtained private text messages between him and his lover, and whether the paper's actions were politically motivated. For years, the National Enquirer's top editor, David Pecker, has had a close relationship relationship with President Trump, who frequently attacks Bezos and the Washington Post, which Bezos owns. On Thursday night, a reporter at the Washington Post told MSNBC Bezos' security and legal team believe the private texts might have been accessed by a, quote, government entity. The National Enquirer's parent company, American Media Inc., responded to Bezos' investigation by threatening to publish revealing photos of Bezos if he did not agree to publicly state that the National Enquirer's coverage is not politically motivated or influenced by political forces. In a blog post on the site Medium, Bezos suggests the leak of his text messages might be connected to his ownership of the Washington Post. Bezos wrote, quote, "It's unavoidable that certain powerful people who experience Washington Post news coverage will wrongly conclude I am their enemy. President Trump is one of those people, obvious by his many tweets. Also, the Post's essential and unrelenting coverage of the murder of its columnist Jamal Khashoggi is undoubtedly unpopular in certain circles." In his blog post, Bezos went on to write, "For reasons still to be better understood, the Saudi angle seems to hit a particularly sensitive nerve," unquote. Meanwhile, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Ronan Farrow of The New Yorker has also revealed he was threatened with blackmail over his reporting on the National Enquirer and President Trump.
Let me just address the Saudi Arabia part of this. It was American Media who released I don't know if it was a part of one of their magazines or if it was a separate issue. They had this full-on kind of hagiography, blowjob pictorial of the Saudi prince and how he's going to make so much, great stuff in America, et cetera. It's all before Khashoggi. So that's why that's brought into the story. And, so that was seen as a Trump, Saudi, AMI triangle to show everyone how great Saudi Arabia is, which was then obviously tarnished by the killing or really subsequent reporting of Khashoggi in and by the Post.
All right. A couple of things. I thought we'd decide we're going to call him Khashoggi.
Here it is.
Jamal Khashoggi.
A couple of things. The McDougal situation, which was mentioned in the first report, was not a buy-off. They had hired her at a high rate of pay, $150,000, to write an article, which was then killed.
Right.
Which is different. The Ronan Farrow thing, the so-called blackmail, Farrow's trying to get himself back in the news, it seems to me, because he threw himself into this story.
Yes, he did.
His blackmail was, they said, if you do this, we're going to ruin you. These sorts of Hollywood-style threats,
they're
never going to work in this town again, we're going to ruin you, are not blackmail.
No.
It's just a threat.
And nor was the note from the Washington Post to Bezos. The note did not say, this is what we're going to do. It says, look, this is what we have. This is quite a list of what you have. But if you want to make sure that never comes to light, then let's all stop all investigations.
Well, that's an interpretable situation.
I agree. It could be seen as blackmail.
Now, the other thing is that I like the way the Democracy Now! Woman, Amy, always starts everything off with some sort of a class-structured commentary that's just subtle. It seems kind of subtle, but it's not really if you compare it to anybody else's report, where you start off with the story, the world's richest man.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That's her first words out of her mouth.
Yeah.
So
nice position.
Now, let's talk about the Enquirer for a minute. The Enquirer is well known. I don't think that the reporting groups, the general public, the libjos, your banker, who seems to be flat-footed about
former
tax thing.
Former banker. Former banker. Yeah.
Once a banker, always a banker. He was flat-footed about that. I think that I doubt he or the general public at large know about the copious amounts of money that are paid for people for photos and inside information.
Oh, no, certainly not. In fact, whenever I tell stories about this kind of stuff, or my own experiences, which, just as an aside, when I'm uniquely qualified to know what it's like to be in some form of personal situation that the media and specifically the gossip press has latched onto. The one thing that can drive you insane is who did this to me? Who positioned this? Who leaked it? Who knew? Who said something? And when you are the richest man in the world, that can go a little bit overboard as just to trying to find out who, because it's really embarrassing.
Yeah, well, I can imagine a picture of him, his pecker, his pecker, not the pecker, and going viral. And because it gets on the net, it's everywhere. It's like, look at this. Hey, Bezos, nice package.
I don't have to remind you of my first wife, do I?
What about her? Oh, yeah, that she would.
You don't. Yeah. You forgot about the videos already?
Yeah, I do. I don't care about this stuff.
I'm just saying, this is what happens. It goes nuts. People can't, and it's always the sex stuff.
Well, the thing is that this is probably, I mean, to think that that he's going to send the NSA or any of these agencies, because the NSA is not run by his pal
which is
anymore.
The implication, which is funny.
It is, but they always make this implication as though, yeah, that's who did it, not the Sanchez woman saying, look at this, look at him, he's very well endowed, to her girlfriend.
Or her brother, or how about the woman scorned? How about the ex-wife? Another possibility.
But the woman scorned, I think, I think she's talking about being bought off. I don't think she is going to do anything. But it's very easy, and you send the picture to yourself real quick. Some people are really good at this, and then you send it to you tell the Inquirer what you've got. They tell you what kind of a check they can scratch. And They said, we'll give you 5, we'll give you 10, we'll give you $10,000 for those pictures, which is pretty much pin money for these guys, for the gossip sheets. And I mean, that's how they get how they get the pictures of John Edwards with his second wife, is all.
Well, I also thought it was interesting that in Bezos's post on Medium, which just tickles me that's where he published, it's like, he claims that this is not newsworthy. They really don't have the right. It's intellectual property. Look, I've litigated that shit in court against magazines. And yes, you are absolutely newsworthy, Jeff Bezos. And yes, if they acquire that by buying it from someone or some other means that is not illegal, they absolutely have the right to print that. And you have no recourse to your so-called intellectual property of your own person or of pictures.
No, and he's such a public figure. It makes it even worse.
Well, he literally writes, this is no good for anybody. I'm not important. It's like, no one should care about me. Okay.
Yeah, well, good luck. Good luck with that argument.
Yeah.
So people, they're seeing, things that don't exist. The Inquirer, this is just the way they do business. And I think that they've always done business this way. They may have paid $50,000 for these pictures.
Oh, maybe more. Maybe more. That's not a huge amount for what you can get for some things.
So it's possible. And if you're somebody that has access to these pictures, or you've even seen them, and you need some money, yeah, it's your best friend that that's going to get kind of embarrassed for a while. But you could use $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Everybody can kind of use it. And she kind of, but you won't tell her. This is nonsense. These guys are just making a mountain out of it's embarrassing, and it is lewd and lascivious, but the way they're somehow trying to point the finger at Trump. Are you kidding me?
Not just pointing, just saying, when this comes out, he's toast.
He's toast again.
Yeah. Now,
he's toast. Look at the Trump rotation, people. TrumpRotation.com.
I do know why. I think I know why Bezos is really freaked out. And it's not that hard to figure out, except, when you're down in the woods with the Twitter people and the blue check marks and your mainstream media, you can't always see the forest for the trees. The big issue here is if you have the guy running Amazon, and you got to think of Amazon in the broadest scope of all its services. And
AWS.
And you cannot keep your dick pics secure Why the hell should Project Jedi for $500 million be placed with you and not with Azure from Microsoft?
In fact, Microsoft may be behind the whole thing.
Could
be
completely be true. $500 million? Yeah, I'll get you your dick pic, boss. No problem. And that, they let him have a helicopter pad there and wherever he is, and with the new headquarters in Virginia. It's the big Jedi deal. I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's the big CIA cloud, the Department of Defense. Everything's going to be in. It may be much bigger than $500 million.
The deal.
Of course it could. Why the hell would you want to go with the guy who can't keep his dick pics secure? You're going to keep our national security information, the CIA, you're going to keep that secure? Pass.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. I'm more
inclined to believe that's the situation as it exists, and and of course, bringing Trump into it and pointing the finger at him. Oh, he used the government. That's what that one report said. They think the government had something. Come on.
Yeah. NSA, hands all over it.
NSA's not going to do anything.
Yeah. So I think that's the real issue, and
well, it could be a dirty trickster working for Microsoft. I mean, at this point, Microsoft has a lot of fixers.
Yeah, you're right. Microsoft is, competing for most valuable company all the time with Amazon too.
Yeah,
they're right up there in the top 5. Pushing around.
Yeah,
that's what. If I were Bezos, that's what I'd be freaked out about for sure. Like, oh, damn, man! They give me the headquarters, they give me the helipad, and now they got my dick pics. Damn.
Well, the Inquirer. I'm sure Pecker knows what the conduit is, but he's not talking.
No, it doesn't have to.
Microsoft.
Got to protect his sources.
It would be smart if it was Microsoft.
Yeah. So, solved.
Solved. We did it again.
Yes, no one's figured this shit out.
Nobody else even thinks of these things.
Only we figure this stuff out. Exactly.
To make a quick transition to another topic that's similar, because you did mention Khashoggi.
Yeah.
And here's an NSA. This is what the NSA actually does. They pull this kind of crap. If it was the NSA, but I thought this coincidence was a bit much to take, and in fact, that it wasn't even pointed out as a coincidence or fishy by Amy on Democracy Now! Kind of disappoints me. But play this clip. NSA uncovers voice recording.
The New York Times is reporting U.S. intelligence agencies have uncovered a 2017 conversation in which Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman told a top aide he would go after Jamal Khashoggi, quote, with a bullet if the exiled journalist could not be brought back to Saudi Arabia. 13 months later, in October of 2018, Khashoggi was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The discovery of the Crown Prince's statement was made as the National Security Agency and other U.S. spy agencies are reviewing years of intercepted Saudi voice and text communications. According to the Times, Mohammed bin Salman made the comment about Khashoggi in September of 2017, the same month when Khashoggi began writing columns in the Washington Post critical of the Saudi government. The White House faces a deadline today to determine whether the Saudi Crown Prince was personally responsible for Khashoggi's murder.
Deadline tomorrow. Fact comes out today. After 2 years, almost 2 years, of September 17.
Magical fact.
And the thing that's interesting to me is that they have so much data in these computers, the NSA in particular, that they can dig this up.
Oh, sure.
It's unbelievable. And people aren't upset about this. And Democracy Now! She's more concerned about the Khashoggi thing because she's like, I don't know why. You always the example of us killing people.
Here's what I don't understand.
But she's not concerned about this kind of spying.
So how was this unmasked? That's my question, because clearly, were there any American citizens in these calls?
We're never going to find that out.
Okay.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that they, did a word search for bullet or something. They've probably been searching for the last 6 months for different words.
Sure.
And the files are so big they can't actually go start listening to them because it would take a lifetime. So you have to do these word searches and hope that you hit a home run, and they did with Bullet.
Yeah, there's a lot of spying going on.
You think that Amy would say something about that? No,
why?
This is great. This is good because it puts Trump in a corner.
Proof. Yeah, Trump. Oh my goodness. Well, let's just stick with and maybe get it out of the way. I don't know if you have anything for 2020, which before I even go into that, I think
You're always complaining about it, and you've always got the stories. I've got nothing.
Right. Well, because there's always something funny.
Well, I do have a Warren thing. I do have a AOC thing.
Well, what I was going to say is that I think we discussed a couple months ago that we have to do more with podcasts because the people that matter, people who have policy, people that are in the mainstream M5M, they're now showing up on podcasts. Many of them are doing podcasts, and I think we're really at close to a tipping point. And of course, it's obvious that somewhere down the road, 10, 15, 20 years, it will all be podcasts. Most of it will be probably independently produced. You'll still have a mainstream, but I don't know how relevant it will be. If you look at Democracy Now! That's basically a podcast that you and a couple other people watch. I mean, it's not much bigger than that. So, Joe Rogan is almost like the Tonight Show of our era. It's not Fallon, if you don't mind me saying. So
I don't care.
Yeah, so I think that it's we're going towards this point where the podcast, and it's hard because podcasts, you can't just, you're not going to get a little snippet from someone. There's not a YouTube video. You have to listen to them. So I've listened to a lot this past few, and the more people can listen to them and time code and send us time codes, the better it will be because it's very time consuming. But I do have a few gems, I think. But let's just stick with what's going on and who's anointed or not. I did see the Elizabeth Warren announcement. This, I thought, was an interesting commercial.
Saturday, February 16th.
Hello, New York!
Oprah from Times Square with Michael B. Jordan, Bradley Cooper, and Beto O'Rourke. Saturday, February 16th, 8/7 Central.
That's right. Oprah live from Times Square with Beto. Do you think he's going to get anointed on stage? I think so.
Beto.
He's Oprah's choice. That's not to be
attention. That's dangerous.
Don't underestimate what Beto could do with Oprah.
Oh, I'm sure that Oprah can make a splash with Beto, but the public is not going to go for this. This guy's never. I mean,
the
Trump
public goes for whoever has the most money.
Obama was pretty bad. He's just, a senator just voted president all the time, and this guy didn't even get his job. He couldn't even beat Ted Cruz.
Well, to be fair,
that's the way I look at it. You can't beat Ted Cruz; you're disqualified.
To be fair, to be a Democrat in Texas before all the Californians have moved, he was a little early, but he'll get there. If he were to continue, he might get there.
Well, I have the Elizabeth Warren thing happened.
Yeah,
and I have the short version, which I think is all that anybody should do. This is CBS giving her due, and this is the last you're going to hear of her.
Hold on.
Warren,
yeah, I got it.
Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren is officially running for president. She formally launched her bid today in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Warren says that she will fight against economic inequality and push for increasing corruption regulations in Washington.
Yeah. And
wow. She's going to fight against inequality and push against corruption. That's original.
That's odd because that was not the big takeaway from her speech. The big takeaway was the Green New Deal. She's all in on the Green New Deal.
Green New Deal.
And she's sending out emails. Chip in. She keeps doing chip in.
I got an email, chip in email.
Chip in, $3, chip in, Green New Deal. And then and her campaign song, Respect.
RESPICT?
Yeah, if only. Yes. That's her campaign song. Very brazen.
She's too much. So she botched this whole American Indian thing, and she's really screwed because of that statement. But Scott Adams, and talking about podcasts, I listened to his
his Periscope thing. Yep.
It's hard to get clips from it because he's I wouldn't say he's long-winded, but he's like the pause seems to be his best friend. So you have to clip a lot of little.
That's when he's looking at the chat room, see if he has to block anybody.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time interacting, which is good. It's modern.
Yeah.
But so he did have a commentary about Elizabeth Warren and her approach to the problem that she's faced with this American Indian, especially that document that surfaced, where she wrote it down when she was trying to get into the Texas bar. And I think that he's hit something here, and there's something we've always kind of. He points out something that we probably should always take into consideration, and I think nails what she should have done, but doesn't have the capability.
Here's what I think she did wrong. What she did wrong was, the way she handled it, of course. But I don't think she's handled it with the sense of humor that it called for. Don't you think a sense of humor was necessary? And apparently she doesn't have one. Remember I told you that 1 out of 3 people don't have a sense of humor? The smart way to play this would have been to consider it as funny as the people watching it. She should have paced the public, because the public thinks this is hilarious. And she should have just agreed. Say, I got totally taken.
Yeah, good point. She's a mocker. She has no humor. She's one of those mockers. Sarcasm. She's a sarcastic person.
Yeah. No sense of humor whatsoever. And I never thought about it until he brought it up. Well, as soon as he said it, you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've never heard a good joke out of her, or anything even remotely funny.
No, she's not a person with a sense of humor at all.
She looks always on the verge of angry tears. Just a little.
But if 1 out of 3 people don't have a sense of humor, that's kind of sad if it's true, and I think it might be.
I mean, does that mean someone?
I don't think too many of our listeners don't have
what exactly? What exactly does it mean to not have a sense of humor? I mean, you can't make a joke, you can't laugh about anything.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
It's mostly the latter.
Huh.
Nothing's funny because nothing's funny ever to you because you don't have a sense of humor. You don't see humor in everyday life.
Well, I think that's a sickness.
A guy with a slap-happy joke. I mean, I know a lot of people that have a great sense of humor and cannot, for the life of them, ever tell a joke. And they're not interested in it. They don't tell jokes. They just never were in a joke-telling family.
Right.
But they laugh at things. They seem to laugh at the right time. They're not laughing because I've always worried about the person that doesn't have a sense of humor but knows how to laugh.
Well, that's Bezos. That's Bezos.
The phony laugh. They look around, they see somebody else laughing, and so they go nuts.
Don't we have that Bezos laugh somewhere?
Laughing.
Don't we have that Bezos laugh somewhere?
We probably do have a copy.
Let me see. What is this? Oh, you might have to play this.
Jeff Bezos.
What is this? Okay, I'll play that end of show. Sounds like a winner. I do have a gem just regarding, well, not really 2020, but just the political positions. Virginia. I asked on the last show, I think, where's Al Sharpton? How come these guys don't know? Okay, here's how it typically works. You're in blackface, you do something stupid, Al Sharpton shows up, he makes a big stink outside your office with his NAN, the Now Action Network, I think it's called, and then you write him a check, and I'm not making this up. I mean, you donate to the NAN, and then Sharpton goes away, and you get to do a little photo op, and you've
absolution.
repented.
This is where the Catholic Church operated.
Well, Sharpton has made quite a business out of it, and I said, "Well, how come where is he? This is such a beautiful spot." Well, C. Mike, who lives in the state, said, he was there. And listen to what Reverend Al said.
Yes, the Governor Kempsey, do you have to be accountable for things that you do? Yes, the Governor can be forgiven. Yes, the Secretary of State can be forgiven. But forgiveness without a price is not forgiveness, it's a pass. It's an excusing them. And that should not happen, and that should not be, in my opinion, tolerated.
He's standing there saying, forgiveness got a price. He's just open about it.
Yeah.
It's got a price. You got to pay the price. I'd be signing. I'd whip my checkbook out so fast. Hey, Al, let's get the Hasselblad in here so we look really good together.
That guy's too much. Well, he knows that. He's got it down where he's not. He can. He's got it down. The whole thing was developed. This concept was developed by the other black minister,
Jesse Jackson.
Jesse Jackson.
It's the shakedown, man. It's the shakedown. Yeah, it's the shakedown. Wait, didn't they? Troll Room says they wrote a book about it called Shakedown. You kidding me?
I believe that might be true.
Jesse Jackson. Let me check. Shakedown. That would be interesting. This is a book we. Well, it was written to. Okay. Let me see. Sharpton Shakedown. I don't know if he wrote it or was it written about him.
No, I think it was written about Jesse
him.
Jackson.
Yeah,
to be honest
him.
about
okay. Yeah. Yes. Oh man, this goes way back. Sharpton Shakedown. Getting rich off racism. Nice. Yeah. Well, it's good times. Business is good for Reverend Al.
Yeah.
You got to wonder what he has.
He's not hurting, let's put it that way.
You got to wonder what he has on NBC brass. I mean, he's not on the air for no reason. He sucks. I mean, he can't read. He can't speak.
Yeah, he totally sucks. He's an embarrassment.
Yeah. So why is he on the air? Shakedown. Just maybe hedging their bets over there. I don't know.
Who can say?
Yes. Fantastic.
All right.
Well, speaking of Scott and his Periscope videos, I was listening to, and actually I got caught on some funky bias that I have. There's this one guy, Tim Pool. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Nope.
And he does YouTube videos, and from time to time, one of our producers will send me a link to a video and say, "This is great. You got to watch it." And it's like an hour. Like, instead of saying, well, go to this time code, or, you can also send me a link that's queued up to the right time code. Just saying,
do that.
This is great. You got to watch it. And then I look at the guy. I see this, it's like a YouTuber shot. The guy's in the bedroom. He's got a beanie on his head. I'm like, no. And he talks a little bit like Ben Shapiro, a little machine gunny, not quite as bad. And so I always pass it by. I'm like, I'm not interested. And so I'm listening to this Joe Rogan show with Tim Pool, and it doesn't dawn, because I'm only listening. I'm not seeing the visual. I'm like, this guy is interesting. He's got a lot to say. And then it really dawns on me an hour into it, like, holy crap, that's this guy. So this is why I think video is a bad idea for podcasting. And maybe this guy has his fame through podcasts, through YouTube videos, and it should be a podcast. I don't know, but I missed out clearly on some stuff because the guy's interesting, has a lot of things to say.
You turned off by his superficial appearance.
Absolutely, and I admit it.
Well, by the way, I think broadcasters discovered that this is important some time back.
Yeah, it's like you got to. What? They figured that out already? That it appealing looks and just the vision by itself keeps people tuned in? Yeah, maybe not. We're just shallow old white guys. What the fuck do we know? But he does know. He's been in these BuzzFeed circles. He's worked for BuzzFeed, for Vice, for Vox. He's a former kind of skater guy, very anti-establishment. And he's now positioned into this place where he has a very, very large following on YouTube. And he sat down with and I actually have 3 clips because there's 2 other things that are really important that he was in the middle of that I'd like to share. But first, why Alex Jones was banned, because they were talking about this, and Joe Rogan apparently got so much hate for his interview with Jack Dorsey from Twitter that, it's like, oh, Jack's going to come back. And Joe Rogan's like, I want to learn from this. And I mean, I think he did a fine job, except for not disclosing that, he takes money from one of his companies. And we got answers out of it, kind of. It's like, well, whatever. It was enough to satisfy me.
It was what it was.
It was what it was. But Dorsey never really answered why Alex Jones specifically got banned. And Tim Pool did enlighten the audience.
Jamie, you pulled up why Alex was banned, too, which is, it's not very clear. Like when you think about the fact that they were saying that he had never done anything on their platform that was bannable, And then what was the one final thing? Like, and Jack didn't know what it was.
He confronted Oliver Darcy of CNN in D.C. and for several minutes was yelling at him while they filmed. And apparently, that's my understanding, was the justification for banning him, that he was harassing a journalist or something to that effect, which is, in my opinion, absurd. And
was he doing it on Twitter?
I guess they posted to Twitter.
Live on Periscope, which is
there you go. Yeah.
Twitter-owned platform.
So if you do something on Periscope that could get you banned from Twitter?
Well, that's the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, the same.
Because they're connected.
Yeah. In my opinion...
So it makes a good point. How does Alex Jones get banned for giving that guy a hard time, but Kathy Griffin doesn't get banned for literally calling for these children,
leading a harassment campaign against kids?
Names.
Someone with millions of followers led a harassment campaign. I'm going to use their language, right? If you're calling on your followers to do something, you're engaging in a campaign.
Yeah.
But Alex Jones confronting the journalist who advocated for his banning is a bannable offense. Now, here's the important thing about Jones. Oliver Darcy said on CNN, it wasn't that Jones broke the rules that got him banned. Because, what Darcy said is he's been breaking the rules in the past. They never cared. It was only because of media pressure they took action against him. Okay. Well, we know many other people break the rules. We know far-left accounts have doxed law enforcement. We know Kathy Griffin led a harassment campaign. There's no media pressure. That's one of the big problems. Twitter knows conservatives aren't going to be able to level any kind of campaign against their platform. They're just not scared of it.
So this actually led to some enlightening information about how Twitter functions, the true reality of the blue checkmark verification, which, as we know, is it's big name celebrities and it's journalists. You can have 1,000 followers and you're on K-Podunk and you'll get a blue checkmark because you're a journalist. You have a checkmark. I don't have a checkmark. I've asked for one. There's been petitions for one. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a journalist. I'm a dick.
You're both a celebrity and a journalist. That's what's funny.
I'm just a douche dick, and I need to shut up.
What they consider.
Okay.
They consider you a douche.
But
I mean, somebody does. It's like some one person over there hates you.
Very important point, because we have two sides to Twitter. Of course, we have the people who have their hands in the code on the buttons all the time, which can be done with or without whatever approval processes. But more important,
approve everything.
Yeah, of course. And more importantly, you have a system, we call it the machine that interacts with mainstream, mainly cable news, but mainstream television. But they also all interact with each other. And we're talking the BuzzFeeds, the HuffPos, all of these bullcrap operations. And I say that, I really mean that. They're bullcrap, and we have more about that later. So having been in the middle of it, for him to explain kind of the process, and he uses part of the example is the high school kids and the American Indian fracas, and explains how it works and what really runs Twitter.
News organizations are headquartered in big cities, the big ones. Even Fox News is in New York. So there's a lot of people who work at Fox News who are actually liberal. People don't seem to know that. You live in New York, you're probably not a staunch conservative. So what happens then? News breaks. You've got all these journalists, because I've worked with them. I worked for Vice, I worked for Fusion, and they sit around at tables. They meet up after work from different offices, and they talk about things, and they all tell each other the exact same thing. And so this is why you see Covington happen. These people all follow each other on Twitter. So when someone tweets, this MAGA kid got in the face of Nathan Phillips, they only see each other's tweets, and they just write it. They don't do any journalism. And it's mind-blowing to me, because the second video that came out from Covington, you literally watch Nathan Phillips walk up to the kid and get in his face. But at the same time, we have a serious journalism problem. And this links back to Twitter. Yeah, and what's fascinating is, following the story, an op-ed, I believe it was in the New York Times, said, stop tweeting. Or it said, never tweet. Brian Stelter from CNN then got a statement that, someone from Twitter said, journalists are the lifeblood of our platform. And so that's why I think you've got these predominantly New York-based progressive writers. They're fresh out of college. They get hired for, moderate salaries to work in a newsroom, sit around each other all day, sharing the same ideas, not exploring anything outside their bubble. And Twitter supports them because they're the ones who drive traffic to Twitter. They keep the conversation going. And I think that's where Twitter's bias partly comes from. The other is that clearly you're in San Francisco. You're going to have, your staff, the people who are running content curation and banning people, they lean left.
I think he's nailing it with them all sitting around. They're all, barely paid.
Well, this is nothing we haven't talked about on this show numerous times.
Yeah, but this was succinct. I'm not saying that we haven't touched on it, and the last clip we've talked about as well, but never with one important detail. We've always talked about traffic buying and how bull crap it is, and how this bubble has been, which is now starting to burst clearly, since these very same news organizations have to let 15 to 20% of their workforce go. But there's one thing we never discussed in the traffic buying equation, and Tim Pool brought it.
It's publicly known, but not talked about a whole lot, that these media organizations, mostly these digital news startups, don't actually get a lot of views. So what they do is, it's called traffic assignment. There's a company called ComScore that tracks the viewership, the unique views these sites have. If you're trying to attract investment and you say, we get 20 million views per month, they're going to say, that's cool, but this site gets 60. What do? Well, there are some sites, this is according to Variety, modernfarmer.com. What is that? I have no idea. I've never heard of it. But there are many sites, which you've probably seen, where it's like the top 25 celebrities who, mess up their makeup.
Yes.
You click the page and it'll show you a photo. In order to see the next photo, you got to click the next page. That way they turn you, one person, to 25 unique views. Or 25 views. I don't want to say unique. Then a company like Vice, for instance, will buy the assignment of your traffic and attribute it to themselves. So when the ComScore numbers come out, it will say all of those views from those clickbait sites are actually Vice. Again, I'm quoting Variety here. I don't want to get sued, but Variety said that their traffic went down 17% because someone they were buying traffic assignment from was like going through turmoil and being shaken up. And another one of their traffic assignment partners switched to, I think, got sold to NBC or something. Mm-hmm. So what ends up happening? Well, I can say a little bit. There was a company that was a prominent digital news outlet. I knew someone there who was decently high up who told me, our company is contemplating whether or not we should engage in traffic assignment to inflate our numbers. And I said, don't do it. That's wrong. Yeah. And they said, but we need investment. Ooh. So I wonder is that fraud?
Yes.
But if ComScore is just lumping the numbers together, and I go to you and say, according to ComScore, our network brings in 60 million, I didn't lie. That's all true.
Yes, that's true.
So here's what happens. These companies get massive investment. They don't actually generate enough clicks or enough money. Then once the investment runs out, those jobs never existed. Those were padded by investors. Everything collapses.
It seems like fraud.
Seems like fraud. I had never taken the ComScore traffic assignment into the equation.
Yes, and this is very common.
Yeah, and I can remember, I think we did it at Pod Show.
Yeah, I assigned a Dvorak.org/blog assignment to a Pod Show when I started working there.
You fraudster? Did you ever?
They said, hey, you want to work here? You got to assign us your.
Did you ever get
traffic.
it back? Did you ever get your assignment back? Did you get your assignment back?
The assignment is in. There is no. They don't have that anymore.
Right.
I mean, this reminds me. I mean, all these companies are like this. There's this idealism that goes on there. For example, we had this guy at Pod Show or Medio, who was Chris, the tattooed IT guy, and the guy had he's just all tatted up, but he was a really solid IT guy that was a stickler. So he had barcodes on everything.
We call it a dude named Ben here, if you don't mind.
He's our dude named Ben. And he had a database. So if you wanted to, for example, I had
every sheet of toilet paper had a barcode.
Well, it was close to it. But I, for example, had a bunch of mics and some gear assigned to me, and it had barcodes on it. It was owned by the company. Beep, beep, beep. You had to check it in. It was an inventory. For some reason, this is like firing the makeup girls. They fired him for some reason, and there was a cost cutting, and nobody really took that job of his.
No, they just.
So the database was now missing in action, and all these barcodes are meaningless, and so all the gear that everybody, and I'm not the only one.
Started walking.
I'm not the only one, but there were people with, anything that was just on loan kind of was now gone. It was missing. It never existed.
Right.
And this is the kind of thing these companies are just. It's almost like a spit in a prayer that the whole Silicon Valley even operates at all.
Well, this particular piece kind of alerted me to two things. One is NBC apparently purchased one of their traffic assignees. So, that's how they see fit to solve this traffic problem, by buying these companies that put these, and they're not really scam. I mean, it's just you know what you're getting. It's like click, 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 click.
It's like a slideshow,
right? I mean, but it has nothing to do with the quality of the content or the journalism represented by it. So there's one. I mean, and so some of these companies are running into trouble. Other ones will just be purchased by the guys with the big deep pockets, so that they can take them off the market and use their traffic assignment for themselves. But ultimately, you're going to run into a problem when someone says, "Hey, ComScore, you shouldn't be doing it this way." That's when the whole bubble completely disintegrates.
Well, that's kind of what used to happen. For example, I could almost take credit for the slideshow, because I don't know anyone else that was doing them when I was doing them, which was way back at PC Magazine in probably the mid to late 90s. And I would do these slideshows. I'd go to a trade show and I'd make a slideshow out of it with my typical snide comments of all the pictures. And it was just although the snide comments were at the price of admission, but there was a slideshow. I took a lot of pictures of the booth bimbos and I made some comments. And so there was like 10 slides, and they just click, click, click. You had to click, click, click through them. And then I get a feedback. No, the advertisers don't want to see any of these slideshows.
Really?
Yeah, I was told never to do them again.
Because the advertisers felt it was... well, these are not. But see, these are not on the website. See, these literally are about celebrities and other and dogs and other stupid stuff, and they just count the traffic. It's irrelevant to the content. So
I understand that. Yeah. I understand that. I'm just saying that
advertisers hate it, is what you're saying.
At one point early on, they didn't like it because it was jacking up the numbers.
Huh.
But when ComScore comes along and they're using these jacked up numbers, they become more popular than ever.
Yeah.
You can't go on the web without hitting one of these slideshows constantly.
Yeah. Al Jazeera reminded us in a little piece they did exactly where all this new journalism money came from.
The other revenue source that will likely dry up is from mainstream media organizations that have invested in their younger digital competitors. NBC Universal and Comcast have injected more than $400 million into BuzzFeed. Fox, Disney, and A&E networks have pumped hundreds of millions into Vice. Verizon has long been vacuuming up media content providers such as Yahoo, AOL, and by extension HuffPost in multi-billion-dollar deals. There may have once been a rationale for such investments, but those mainstream media companies are now counting their losses, in some cases writing them off, and looking to invest elsewhere.
Podcasting!
All those investments came from these big media companies who made most of their money in television. And pay television was just going off a cliff, being eaten by Netflix. They were seeing their most lucrative parts of their business declining, so they were desperate to reach these hard-to-reach young people in their 20s and early 30s. And Vice and BuzzFeed, they offered a way to reach these young audiences. And now it's unlikely that they're going to continue that investment just because of the difficulties in the online advertising market.
Who exactly is going to provide the funding for these companies as they go forward? Venture capital investors don't just give you hundreds of millions of dollars for nothing. They're going to expect that money back. It's going to have to come from somewhere because the revenue model is now in question. Not only are we questioning the growth rates of these companies, we're questioning sort of whether they can even continue to be the same size. So now you've got something that's not even growing. It's probably shrinking. That's not a business model that anybody is going to be interested in investing in.
No, I think it's well over now. I think
I don't think it's well over at all.
The VCs, you think they're still investing in these things?
I think as long as the scam continues, and I think this guy talking up with Rogan referred to part of it, but I think the buying of traffic, the arbitrage, all this other stuff, as long as those things can continue, you can have these pumped up numbers and until dumb money goes away.
Right.
I mean, the investment community consists of smart money and dumb money, as we know. And the smart money is already probably, okay, this is bull crap. Let's find something else to do. Although they become dumb money when they go invest in green technology. I find it somewhat ironic. First they're smart money, then they're dumb money.
Real dumb money. Well, it's interesting that these firings all came at the same time. Could just be financial end of year.
Well, we talked about there was also that pot of money, the Obama money from the government.
If true,
dried up.
If true. But if it was a combo deal, if some of that money dried up, we don't really have any proof that it went to them. If that money dried up, and by the way, Canada's trying to do the same thing. They're trying to split up $500 million dollarettes amongst the media companies, having secret meetings about it and stuff. It's very funny.
These guys should realize that when you get $500 million and you give it to the media, it all goes upstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, there is so much condemnation of Jeff Bezos, talking about Bezos again, over his Washington Post ads on the Super Bowl. He put an ad.
They hated it. The journos hated it. The journos hated it.
Of course they did, because it's $10.5 million he spent on this ad that was useless. And they kept saying this $10.5 million could be 10 reporters at $100,000 a year for 10 years, plus $500,000 to buy donuts.
They added that in, huh?
And it was, because the journalists know that they're under stress to get, the very few newspapers are doing well. No the magazines are shrinking. Online, there's no money in online. You have to scam.
Yep.
You have to scam investors. And it's all investment money. It's not like real money that's coming in from the public. So they know that this is a problem. To see Bezos throw away $10 million casually, irked them. Yes, all the journalists were pissed off,
and also
especially Washington Post people.
Also, these new journos should realize that Google and Facebook are out to get you. They don't care about you, and they change their algos and screw you over as fast as they can for your scam money. Excellent. Well, that gives us hope.
Well, we do everything on the up and up.
We do. In fact,
we don't worry about advertisers. We don't worry about page views. We don't worry about, assignments, because we don't get income from that. It's just bull crap. Those people should be ashamed of themselves.
Those people should learn to code.
Learn to code.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in ComScore, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning, all ships and sea boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to the troll room, noagendastream.com. I wanted to mention that anybody who wants to join the Fediverse, I think saying Fediverse is better than Mastodon. Neither of them are great. But if you want to join the future of social media, you can do that at our very own noagendasocial.com. You need an invite? Go to the troll room, and I'm sure someone can give you an invite there. And the troll room is something that we always have scrolling around in the, not the background, kind of the side view corner of my eye during every live stream, so that we can be corrected in real time and sometimes get some good one-liners. Sometimes it's just trolling. That's what they do. They're trolls. NoAgendaStream.com, and thank you very much for that. Also, in the morning to the artist who brought us the artwork for episode 1110. Title of that was Kremlin Crush. This was a nice piece. We had a hard time, actually, trying to figure out what we wanted to choose. Sir Trent Wabbis brought us the global warming fear meter, which I believe we got from the Evergreens.
Yes, it was back in the back.
It was. Now, why did we have such a problem choosing art? What was?
We didn't find any of it to be artsy or compelling
or appropriate. I can't really remember. We really liked the climate fearometer. We liked that a lot. And what else was there? There was. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to put Elizabeth Warren in the Pocahontas stuff.
Yeah, we're not putting pictures of Elizabeth. I should mention a couple of little tips for artists again.
Tips. Here's some tips.
We have tips. We have lots of tips. They should be accumulated. Well, there's one tip, and it's not necessarily about Elizabeth Warren, but it kind of applies. Do not put something that is unattractive and homely or ugly or some like a gruesome something with somebody with their head chopped off or somebody bleeding from the eyes or any of these things that are just repellent. So when you look at the art, instead of wanting to click on it and go to listen to the show, if you're using it as cover art, you go, ugh. You don't want to get that reaction of, ugh, does not want to happen after somebody sees your art. It's as artsy as it might be.
The idea is for people to be lured in.
Yeah, be lured in by a pretty face. Elizabeth Warren kind of qualifies as the, not quite, but almost like a repellent. In terms of her face, she's not that. She's not a. Yeah, sorry. It's what can I say?
I'm with you.
So she's not going to work out.
I'm with you.
Cortez is funny. She's got a goofy face. She's always going to get but I still don't want to see a bunch of politicians on the art necessarily.
No, not necessarily at all. But anyway, we appreciate the work that all of our artists do. It makes this show uniquely different just before you even listen to it. It shows up that way in the podcast apps. By the way, I think we recommend Overcast is one that adheres to the artwork changing, even to some degree, Apple's own podcast app. But I would recommend Overcast because you pay Marco, you pay him, he makes it better. That seems like a value system there that makes sense.
How much you have to pay?
I think it's $2. It's $2.
That's reasonable. $2 a show or $2 a...
No, just for the app, just to get the app.
That's not bad.
No, I mean, you should charge $20. People should pay him $20. He should leave it open, let people pay what they think it's worth, but the Apple store doesn't allow for that kind of grooviness.
Yeah, they want all the money.
Yeah. But
you're making money off of us.
I guess what I'm saying is, in this world where we're going to see podcasts moving away from you can use them on any device, it'll be any device that has Spotify on it. As long as you have a Spotify account. Now, like if that's the world you want to live in, fine. I think it's better that we support our local independent software developers for stuff that works for everybody. Just a thought.
All right. Well, we do have a few people to thank, and we have a few people to thank profusely. So this is show 1111. We have a bunch of people that actually joined the 11-11-11 club. Mm-hmm. And curiously, our number one donor today, which is Sir Onimus of Dogpatch in Lower Slobovia, came in with $1,202.
Wow. And he's back.
Yeah, he came back. He wanted it was for this show specifically, so it came in. He has it long one of his notes, and no jingles, no nothing. From Sir Onimus of Dogpatch in Lower Slobovia. Thank you to all the producers. Repeating my last letter, the album art, the jingles, the clips, the show notes, the knowledge shared, and the open discussion of topics avoided or specifically covered by the M5M continues to make this the best source of information available. And he's referring to the No Agenda show.
Right on.
After hearing 2 shows without a traditional executive producer in January, yes, something I complained about, I'm admonishing those who can but don't. Listeners that are douchebags. If you have time to listen, you have time to donate. In-kind producers, remember that barter only goes so far in the real world. Cash is still king, so include some of that in your contributions to the show. Congratulations to the 2 associate producers that were promoted to executive producers. Your commitment to the show in hard times is noticed and appreciated. To the wannabe executive producers, there are only 104 opportunities a season to be an executive producer of this highly desirable primetime show. This show has global reach and is heard by influential people around the world. Put your name
I like
in the
that.
executive.
I like that.
It is. It's true. Put your name in the executive producer lights for all to see. Important people will note that your support of real-world insight and perspective of such a noted and long-running show. I know No Agenda uses show numbers, but consider listing yourself as executive producer of Season 11, Episode 20, or whatever is appropriate, which is not a bad idea.
I was just thinking about that. Good one. All right,
that's
Sir
the way
Onimus.
that you would do it if you were on a TV show.
Yes, you're right.
Show number 111 is important to No Agenda listeners, but season number and episode number is more traditional in the mainstream world and may attract more attention in your bio.
Huh.
So we are on the 11th season, I believe.
Season 11 and show... Is it show 11?
I don't think so. Because season 11 began with the anniversary show. when it's in October, I believe.
Oh, okay, no.
And so it would be counted from there. So we'd have to.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah, because you got to count.
Math.
1, 2.
Stop with your math, Dvorak.
3,
I can't handle it. It's too much. It's too
4.
much.
Shows that ended after 11 seasons include MASH, Cheers, Frasier, Married with Children, Happy Days, Murphy Brown, and The Jeffersons. Strong producer support will keep this show going on long beyond 11 seasons. We're shooting for The Simpsons.
Which is what, 30 seasons, 30
or at
years?
Least Family Guy.
Yeah, we're shooting for that.
NJNK.
Thank you very much, Sir Onimus of Dogpatch in Lower Slobovia. I'm glad you're okay. Glad your family's okay, it seems at least. And thank you very much. You always drop by at the right moment and humble us. It's appreciated.
Yes, and he has good little lectures, too, and good ideas. Jordan Goodfellow comes in with $111.11, or $1,111.11 in Arvada, Colorado. And he becomes a member of the 11111 Club. We're going to we should put Anonymous in there just gratuitously.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
With show 1111 falling on the day before my birthday, that is on the 11th, I could not pass up such a great opportunity to support the best source of actual news and media deconstruction in the universe. Thanks for making sure I don't go insane and really can sleep soundly knowing that the world isn't about to end in some sort of spontaneous combustion. A quick PSA, empty out the PayPal account, you freeloaders. This show is our sanity, and it's only maintained with your help. Also, any tips on ways to remember more of the info that is shared on the show? It's tough to remember all the good stuff when it's really needed. If I may request a random Sharpton clip, followed by a Jobs Goat Karma for our revamped website, gigrent.com, gigrent.com, launching in late March. It's sure to be a success with your help.
I'm looking at it now, gig rent. So you rent, okay. This is,
what is it?
It's, you can rent gear for gigs, everything from projectors to special projection lenses, video mixers, audio mixers. I guess they might have, what else? Huh. Yeah, if you okay, the digital recorders, signal. Yeah, this is for big.
So it's an AV operation.
Yeah, big AV gigs. Nice, nice website. I like it. Very nice. Well, thank you, Jordan. Thank you very much. And yeah, of course, we'd love to give you a Jobs Goat Karma.
RESPICT.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Now we have another $1,111.11 donation from Anonymous. And then it says, see email for donation note. Now, I want to mention that it's kind of hard to look up the email for someone named Anonymous because they actually have an email address. Luckily, I did a subject search for donation, and it was there.
Okay.
So if you're going to do this kind of thing, I'm just telling the producers.
You got to give us a little info so we know how to look you up.
You put donation for such and such and put the amount in the subject line.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look up donation. That way I can isolate the note rather quickly, which I did in this case. I got lucky.
Okay.
No jingles, no karma, so we don't have to worry about that. Anonymous donation. A little background on me. I seem to check many of the boxes that other producers check, i.e., dude named Ben, amateur radio operator, Marine, NRA instructor, scout leader.
Oh, my God. Is he transgendered? Because then he's just in pocket.
I find it interesting that so many have similar interests.
That's true. Well, let me go. Dude named Ben, amateur radio operator, Marine, NRA instructor, scout leader. Damn. We also have a lot of, you have teachers. He's an instructor.
We have teachers. We have a lot of Eagle Scouts.
Dentists, Eagle Scouts. We have a lot of educators.
We have a lot of people in the intelligence community, but they don't normally brag about anything.
Not much.
Life has been a little bit crazy of late. We recently welcomed twin human resources to our family. Shortly after birth, we learned that they have a genetic condition that is one of the few known genetic causes of autism, or at a minimum, they will be likely have learning disabilities. This news has had our heads spinning a bit, and we're finally slowing down and settling into a groove with them. Through it all, No Agenda Show has helped keep my mind in check. There is something calming about the show that, talking about this, I'm going to interrupt again. This is going to be a long segment anyway. I'm not even going to mention her name, but she's a person I've known for quite a while. She's always been an anchor or co-anchor. She's been on various morning
I know
shows.
exactly who you mean. In Los Angeles? Got it.
Well, I'm not actually, this is the one that was in Atlanta.
Oh,
She's
okay.
in New
Doesn't
York.
matter. All right.
The one in Los Angeles is different. But I would say it kind of applies to her too. But she's now got a new gig on CNN, and because she's in that environment where you're just getting the same horrible, the president's going to get impeached, where country's falling apart, global warming's going to kill us tomorrow, we're all going to be dead in 12 years and all. It is starting to show. I'm surprised it hasn't already.
Is she looking sick? Is she looking ill?
It's starting to show on her face. Yeah.
Wow. I feel bad now. I feel really bad. Yeah, that's what
I
happened.
see the same thing about the woman in Los Angeles that you're referring to.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And she's so beautiful.
It's like, it's just, you can just see him being worn down.
Jeez.
Worn down.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? I mean, there's nothing you can do.
They'll
Especially
never.
in that environment, you got to be in the environment. You can't go around.
I'm telling you, if the people who are reporting, if the people on cable news keep reporting about Trump and 2020 for the next 2 years, they may not see the 2020 election.
I'll be dead.
Except from an IV in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good.
It is salt drip.
Saline. Onward.
Anyway, yes. Through it all, the No Agenda shows help keep my mind in check. There is something calming about the show that seems to bring peace of mind. Interestingly, recently I've been around TVs in public areas that they're playing the M5M. They have that complete opposite effect of No Agenda. The M5M definitely exists to keep us in an emotionally heightened state that can't be healthy for anyone's amygdala.
Right on. I
would like to change my designation from Sir Benonymous. Oh, this is Sir Benonymous. Okay. Of the 1.5x playback to Drebe Scott of the EIB Express.
No. Sir Dreb Scott of the ELB Express.
ELB Express, sorry.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. He knows.
Yeah, good.
I'm not very creative, so this will have to do for now. I've seen the error of my ways. I used to roll my eyes when you guys had concerns with people listening at faster speeds. Well, I still listen to some tech podcasts at higher speed. I will no longer be doing that for the No Agenda show.
There you go.
The calmness I feel listening to the show at regular speed is heightened by slowing back down.
Yeah.
I would, however, caution slowing the show down to half speed, as it makes you both sound completely drunk.
No, we're just drunk. There's nothing
I'd like
wrong.
to commend you both on the high-quality show you produce each week. I was thinking about that today, by the way. Listening to its to a 1x speed has helped me to hear the little nuances I missed before. It also helps John's recorder playing, as at 1.5x, it sounded completely spastic. Huh. I know I started with NJNK, but if John is willing, I'd like to hear him in his best droopy dog impression say Bloomberg, Bloomberg, Bloomberg. I've heard him do this in the past, but it seems to get missed. I just did it. Thanks for all the great media deconstruction. Okay.
Well, and just
73s, by the way.
73s. I've always said, if you want to listen to us at 1.5 speed or 2, whatever it is, that's fine. But I feel that you do miss some of the magic of the show. Sometimes we don't say anything because we're thinking. There's a pause, and it's intentional. And I think personally that's kind of beautiful. Gives you a moment to slow down. Life is already quite fast and in your face. But to each his own, of course.
I'd say yes.
And thank you very much, Sir Dreb Scott of the ELB Express. Your support is very much appreciated.
All right. JY, Sir, tax of the anonymous accountant in San Francisco, 1111.11.
Right. This is the anonymous gay, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
Well, I don't have a note that I can see.
Yeah, I sent this to Eric, and I said specific. I'm trying
No,
to.
he says, I have the note. You should send it to me if I have the note.
Yeah, see, now, the guy has asked me so specifically now to make sure that we do his donation. Of course, now I can't find it that quickly because I thought it would be.
Okay, well, why don't you pass because we got another similar donation.
Okay, you do that, and I'm gonna look for it because I know where
Carl
it is.
Johnson, $111, $1,111 in Tempe, Arizona. Congratulations on reaching the milestone of 1,111 shows. For some reason, I have difficulty saying that. I'm convinced you have the best podcast in the universe, and thank you, Adam and John, for all your hard work. For all your hard work. I also thank all of the other producers who make the show possible. I've really enjoyed listening to your outstanding shows and consider you the button on the cap of media analysis and deconstruction. The button on the cap. Hopefully this donation will make up for years of douchebaggery on my part. Yeah, I think so. Would appreciate a de-douching and some job karma and any jingle combination of your choice.
You've been de-douched. Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
It's going to be knighted later as Sir Type-A-Lot.
And I got the note here from Sir Taxed, the anonymous accountant. Do I get a No Agenda Night Ring package? I don't think I asked for that with my last Insta Baron donation. Also, I picked a name before, and I would like to petition the Peerage Committee for a change to, here you go, Sir Taxed, the anonymous accountant. So he has changed the name. That's official. I think we're okay with that. Before playing my requested jingle, which I don't see here, I ask that No Agenda listeners take a moment to close their eyes and think about the value that the show brings to them. Please play
Dvorak.org/NA.
I do have this note.
This show, along with 10 minutes of daily meditation, has kept my amygdala small. Thank you for your courage, Sir Tax, the anonymous accountant. Thank you very much, Sir Tax. That is appreciated.
Michael Sosnin, $700. Adam and John, hit in the mouth a little over 5 years ago by long overboard coworker. Thank you for the ongoing mental hygiene. I've historically donated about $1,000 as a birthday present to myself. I would have taken 48 trips around the world on Friday the 9th. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, is that just, but is that around the world or just 48 cumulative miles that would amount to 48? Please add, because I've taken a lot of trips around the world if you're going to do that. I've never actually taken a trip around the world where you just decide you're going to go all the way around you leave San Francisco and you come back all the way around through China.
Yeah.
You ever done that?
No, I can't say as I have.
Please add me to the birthday list. This year, I could not resist the chance of proving John wrong. Thank you. On show 1107, he made a very specific prediction. I immediately thought to myself, challenge accepted. To accomplish this feat, I had to reduce my annual To accomplish this feat, I had to reduce my annual donation to exactly $700. So I request that you'd play the clip of the day jingle, something John claimed would never happen again.
This was the 700 donation, which apparently allows you to claim a clip as clip of the day. He's taken it to a new level. He's saying, here's the amount just to play the jingle. I like it.
Well, I thought you hated it.
No, I hated the idea was that the listener could determine, the producers could determine what the clip of the day was. Not just the clip of the day. Jingle would say, oh, that clip that you played then, that was actually clip of the day.
Yes, I think that's right.
I'm pretty sure because it irked me, I remember.
I think you're right. That's what really irked you.
Mm-hmm.
Before I go on, I have a humble request for dog lover Adam. My wife and I are in final negotiations with our 4 young human resources on acquiring a puppy. Of all the possible options, they have landed on a Stabahound, which originated from the Friesland province in the Netherlands. Adam, what, if anything, do you know about this breed? Can you make my authentic Dutch dog name recommendation, please? Thank you for keeping us all sane. Viscount Sir Snodges of the Swansea.
Well, the Stabby Hound.
Swanee.
Or Stabay, which would mean stand. I guess they're like a pointer. For West Frisian. We have Frisian producers who could tell me more about it. I don't know anything about it. But it's always nice to have a fifth resource in your house pooping everywhere. You already got 4 of them. Why not add another? It's great. They'll love it.
Yeah, boys and girls need little doggy puppies. Makes their life more interesting. They get to pick up all kinds of diseases they wouldn't normally get.
Yes. It protects them from the outside world. It's very good. All right, well, I'm going to play clip of the day first because we want that.
Come up with a name for this. A good Dutch name.
No, he says, can you tell us about the breed? No. Can you make any authentic Dutch? Oh, dog name. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Fikkie. 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 Fikkie.
What
Here,
does
Fikkie.
that mean?
It's kind of like Fido. Hey, Fikkie. Hey, Fikkie.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it's the Dutch version.
I know what it means.
It's Fikkie. I'm telling you. Fikkie is the most typical Dutch dog name. Fikkie. 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 Come here, Fikkie. Means something different in German, but still. But that is a Dutch dog name. Fikkie. And maybe what else was it? Fikkie.
It means something else in German. You can look that up yourself. But I think it was probably developed as some sort of a comment on the Germans.
It could be. I don't know the etymology of Fikkie, but that is the Dutch Fido. Fikkie is Fido.
Joseph Finley, $444 and 44 cents. ITM, gents. Adam is my brother from another mother, John. You're my bastard dad. Shout out to Andrew, dude named Ben in Wisconsin, whom I smacked in the mouth last week. Jingle. Jill Abramson's New York Times. Stop the hammering and L. Sharpton random.
And to one of Al Sharpton random. Well, we don't have that many randoms anymore. That's kind of the problem. It's like I need.
You just resist we much is fine with me.
Well, okay, let's do a resist. I think that's better. Resist. Here we go.
Obviously, I read the New York Times like all day long, mainly on my iPad app.
Stop the hammering! Resist, we much. We must and we will much about that be committed.
You've got karma.
All right, got through it.
I do want to discuss her. I don't know if I don't have a clip. I should, but of Jill Abramson's being accused of plagiarism.
I have clips.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
We can talk about later. I got some clips.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I have some thoughts on it that I think people need to realize.
Good.
Baron of Las Vegas, $388.11. From the Baron of Las Vegas on 11/11/2011, one of the great producers of the No Agenda Show created a commemorative 11/11/11 Super Karma geocoin.
Oh my goodness, I remember that. It's huge too. It's like a really big coin.
Yeah, this is a geocaching trackable device that moves from location to location. I set the goal of this geocoin to travel around the world, spreading the word about the No Agenda Show. To date, the coin has logged 104,663 miles.
Wow! It has its own tracking code. I didn't even realize this.
Yeah. Amazingly,
forgotten
no
about
one has stolen it in all these years.
Well, that shows you the value of this show. Hey, I found it. What the hell is this?
If anyone is interested, the tracking code is X1JE36. That's X1JE36. It's currently in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
How do we find
Venezuela? It's probably in some CIA guy's pocket.
Well, but can we track it? Is there a map or something we can see where it is?
I don't know anything about this. I'm just giving you the tracking code. If you know what this guy's talking about, you would know immediately what to do.
Yeah.
We don't. Maybe someone can help. Previously, he was in South Korea during the Olympics. CIA guy. Truly, this is a magical coin. Please give dreams, not just jobs, karma, to everyone in the No Agenda audience.
You betcha. Thank you very much. And I'd love to know more, but there's got to be somewhere we can track on a Google map to see where this thing has been and where it's gone. And thank you for kicking that off. That's fantastic.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
No, I have it.
You've got karma.
Troll room is fast. Here we go. Troll. Oh, that's you can geocaching.com. Duh. And there it is, the 11/11/11/11 Super Karma Geocoin. And let's see, can we look at it on a map as well? It's got where it is right now. Yes, it's Berta Bucheraf took it to Donnerfeld Wagner, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. This is crazy. I didn't realize.
It's been going on for 7 years.
And there it is. There's the coin. There's a picture of the coin and everything. You know, long from now, we will be gone. Someone will find this and go, what?
What the hell
was this all about?
Well, how does this even work? How does the tracking coin work? Do you have to check in? The coin can't have a transmitter.
No, you have to check in and you say, okay, I've got it, and then you place it somewhere else. But yeah, tracking history, 104,663.1 miles view map. Oh, you have to log in first. Okay. Well, I will check this out. This is very cool.
It's very funny. Sir David Fugazotto, $370.30. This donation represents an $11.11 donation from each of Dame Melody, Dame Isabella, and myself, then further multiplied by yet another $11.11 to celebrate and seek the good fortune from this super duper uber mega lucky number. We've been saving this donation for today as a Karma Force multiplier.
Nice.
In the last few months, in
the next few months,
we will 1, retire from the service, 2, sell a house, 3, start a new job, 4, move overseas, and 5, probably start a master's degree. In light of all that going on, we request that you facilitate some of that karma goodness in our direction.
You bet. No problem.
I would also like an F cancer karma for my beloved Uncle Leo, who is diagnosed with the dreaded C word. Yeah. You should be aware that Dame Isabella regularly sings the Dvorak.org jingle and has been dispensing karma on her Catholic school playground, where they probably prefer to hear her do Hail Marys. It's better than calling kids out as douchebags. Thank you for your continued service, deconstructing media and our sanity and benefit, Sir Dave Fugazotto.
Thank you, Sir Dave. And I look forward to hearing about all of these new things you're doing. I mean, retiring from the service, selling a house, starting a new job, move overseas. Do tell more. And thank you for supporting the work here at the best podcast in the universe. Here's your karma.
You've got karma.
What was that?
What?
There's a little voice in there saying something.
That was me saying, "Here's your karma."
No, after during the sound of the whole thing.
You've got karma.
Yeah, we've only played this.
Yeah, I know. There was something else. It was like it was something.
It was me yelling, "Here's your karma."
Oh, okay. Robert Q. Werback. Werback, yeah. Hard name. That must have been a lifetime of fun. 366.63. Congratulations on reaching show 1111. Your insight and news deconstruction are a valuable resource, and I'm here to return some of the value. I was a douchebag for far too long and would like a de-douching.
You bet.
You've been de-douched.
I love hitting people in the mouth with the connections you find and the insights you provide. I'm currently waiting to win a bet with a coworker when Hillary announces that she's running for president. Oh, there's easy money. Whether it's Adam's legislation analysis, John's whipsaw dissections, identifying the work of the Lear Foundation, or researching the corporate leadership of an NGO, it all works together to make No Agenda the best podcast in the universe. The 366.6 63 donation is 1111 times 33.
Nice.
That was
one.
a good one. Which
Good
I
one.
thought had a nice ring to it.
And also, thank you, Robert, for sending me. He sent a couple of clips from Lear Foundation stuff, which don't forget to today, but it's appreciated. And I know it's him because I can see he spelled it the same way.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
You spell it with drool coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm going to give him some karma here, just extra.
You've got karma.
Okay. Isaac, the Baron of Altadena, 366.3.63. Again, same thing. Same thing. What a coincidence. In my tradition of donating to 666-777-888-999, I missed 1010. I'm making this donation for the 1111 show via PayPal, 1111 times 33, 366.363. First of all, I want to call out Bob Halsey as a douchebag. And then I have a 5G story. I serve on the board of a local nonprofit here in Pasadena that is focused on innovation, design, and entrepreneurship in the area. Towards the end of 2018, we received a random $7,500 donation sponsorship from one of the big four telecom companies. As a nonprofit, we are grateful, and we set up a meeting to talk about how they can participate in and be active in our nonprofit. Well, in the meeting, they were asking us if we'd openly advocate for 5G in Pasadena.
Really?
If we'd host an event about 5G and could introduce them to key council members and employees at Pasadena City Hall. Can you imagine? He continues. Can you imagine that these jabronis are selling out $10,000 worth of donations all over the country to shove 5G down the throats of citizens? By the way, if they're going to go that way, tell them to say, hey, you will do all that for you, but it's $75,000, not $7,500 for those services.
Right?
Yeah. Please give me some jobs karma for my new startup, salesinsider.io. Salesinsider.io, a job marketplace for software sales reps, and a Rubblizer random numbers jingle. Oh, that's what he wants. Okay. Needs job karma for a random number. I don't know what that is.
I know what that is.
Keep up the good work, gentlemen. P.S. This is good to know. Show 1092 is probably the best show you guys ever produced. It covers everything. It would make a good rerun.
1092 was Pros from Dover, and that was, what was the date on that? December 7th? I mean, I don't remember.
I will go re-listen.
I mean, we'll do a show, and then Tina will say something about it after the show. I don't even remember what we did on the show. My head is just so full with show.
We do a lot of shows.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by. 33, 33, 33. Rubblizer out.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Okay. Now we have Sir Milkman. I went to the mailbox because I'm trying to find William Cameron's email. Sir Milkman sent a note in. He actually sent a bunch of stuff. If I can't find my glasses, I can't read the note. There they are. It's hard to see your glasses. You can't see anything. Here we go. And this is interesting. He sent first. He had an old airmail envelope, and then he's typed out with a old typewriter this note on some really old crappy paper. And then he also sent a whole bunch of stuff in a giant package. He was wondering if this was going to get there by today. We got lucky. I picked it up. Enclosed, you will discover some fine relevant materials for your archive. And he sent it to the right guy. I'm certain that beyond the immediate sense of pure delight spewing forth from your very being, having received these generous totems, they will be placed into the reliquaries. I don't know that word. Waiting for the admiration and worship of the onlookers. By the way, his donation is for $333.33. He's in Pasadena. And here's what he sent. He sent a self-published material on heritage nukes called Atomic Bombs. And it's a big, thick thing. And it's all this declassified information about the first 2 atomic bombs and how you make one.
Oh.
Probably get me in trouble owning it. The World Operations Manual, which I really haven't been able to look at, but it's by this guy who keeps coming and going named Bill Barker. The Illuminati Deluxe. Hacker, a game with some excellent humor. It's an old card game.
Oh, yes. We know this.
Heritage LED, some mosaic animal samples, original samples. 3D printed raven skull.
Nice.
Which my daughter saw. She says, Dad, who is sending you printouts of dead bird skulls?
Well, send me some of this stuff.
And then a check adorned with ants in the amount of $333.37. What do I have on there? Yeah, I probably put it wrong when I put it in there. I hope that these items meet with your approval. If there's been a packing or shipping error, please bring it to the immediate attention of your regional fulfillment center and do not retain the contents. Crate up the items and dump them off the nearest bridge, making sure the local authorities are not following or observing your activities. We've got enough problems without you.
Right?
Thank you for your courage.
Thank you for your courage.
He also has enclosed a question authority bumper sticker.
You got to send me some of that. That's cool stuff.
I'll send you this stuff. Yeah, I'll send you a couple of things. William, you would like to collect a couple of these items. William Cameron, and you're not a collector.
Not really, but I like it when people send stuff to the show. I keep all of that. It's beautiful stuff.
William Cameron, $333. Now, I don't have a note from him on here, and I'm guessing that he sent something in, so I'm going to do a quick search on my email. You might want to do the same, and you might want to play the Squirrel Mail jingle.
Yeah, how come it's not ready to go here? That's I feel very inadequate today. I don't know what it is, but I can't find the Squirrel Mail. I can't find a lot of stuff. I'm out of control.
You're giddy.
I'm getting jitty with it. Here it is.
I don't have anything from
Yeah. Squirrel Mail. I found it.
You found it?
No, I found Squirrel Mail.
Oh.
Hold on. Squirrel Mail. Let me check. Maybe it's William Cameron. Squirrel Mail. Squirrel Mail. Squirrel Mail. Squirrel Mail. Do we have William Cameron's? No. Do we have it? It's in. I think it's in. Squirrel Mail.
Epic fail.
We do not have it. Good work.
All right. Christopher Logg, L-O-G-G, and says in South Pasadena, California, $333. No note from him. I don't want you to play that again.
No, I won't.
But I think I can look this up pretty quickly since his last name is pretty distinctive.
Christopher? Oh.
A lot of people just send their cash. They don't send notes.
It's true. I don't think we have one. I've not seen
No,
this.
there's nothing.
No, I've not seen it.
But if you guys, you're all executive producers. If you have something
Send
to say,
it. Yeah, just let us know. We'll be happy to do it.
We'll be glad to oblige. Onward to Anonymous in Brooklyn, New York, $251.11. I'm loath to admit that this is my first donation. I'm a freelancer in entertainment and advertising, and the No Agenda show has kept me sane. Listening to you twice a week erects a force field around my amygdala, preserving it as I wade through the leech-infested swamp of cultural Marxism that is my industry.
Well described.
With the M5M constantly pitting different classes of us slaves against one another, the No Agenda show stands tall as a shining beacon of hope and dimension straddling and okay, let me read that properly. A shining beacon of hope and dimension straddling unity. I honestly consider the show a public health service, and I imagine that the effects of it has on the body are akin to a daily yoga routine or a heavy dose of prescriptions of high blood pressure medication. Perhaps we can get this thesis tested by a university. Please bring some job karma my way. I could really use it. Thank you both for all you do. May you live 1,000 years.
All right. I'm going to de-douche him, too, since it's the first donation.
You've been de-douched.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Talking about Anonymous. I wonder how the Anonymous lesbian's doing. We haven't heard from her.
Oh, yeah. She's been
but she
AWOL.
moved to New York. She's like down the street from this guy. Well, he's in Brooklyn, but she's in Manhattan. Yeah.
I do miss her.
Yeah, well.
She's kind of
your got less money than ever.
Kind of your fangirl.
Yeah. Vanessa Hampshire in Verwood, Dorset, UK, 250. And there's our first associate executive producer. I want to thank all these people. This is really great for the show. An overdue donation from the UK. My father died just last year, and it was a bit of a blur. What can I say? Halfway to damehood now. Love the show. Sanity with levity in a crazy world.
Oh, thank you very much, Vanessa. I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm glad that you are still with us and supporting the show. Thank you.
And now we got, what is this?
Nathan Miller Foster.
Nathan Miller Foster.
Shall I do one? Just since it's so much, you want me to read for a bit?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm not allowed to read.
Oh, I see. Okay. No, I said I couldn't get to the bottom.
Here's now. This is Nathan Miller Foster, 2/22/22. Parts unknown in the U.S. Here's 111.10 for each of you, and 2 pennies for the jar. Thank you very much. Thank you for your entertainment twice weekly. Sunday and Thursday are propitious days for the show, just as the numbers are important, 33, 420, 69, or the very sacred 1111. So too are days. Sunday is the day of the sun, and Thursday is the day of Jupiter or Jove. The colors are gold and blue, respectively. Their metals are gold and tin. A few shows back, a producer asked the question, what Adam and John thought of Masons. As a Mason, I was pleased to hear Adam thinks that Masons are great. I'm a Mason. I'm also a Rosicrucian. Just as importantly, I am a no-agenda producer who will attain my knighthood in due time. I would like. That's cool. We got these in all the clubs. I would like to put this out there. There's an album by John's favorite band, Tool. Yeah. You'll find that there's a hidden album that can be found by rearranging the tracks of Lateralus by the Fibonacci sequence to create a more perfectly harmonizing album known as the Holy Gift. I've heard of this. The track order tells a different story than the factory-produced one, a story that tells of present moment-based living and consciousness expansion, as well as holistic living in harmony with other humans and even spirits. I'm writing a book, which apparently you've sent as your donation.
That's right. I wanted to read this letter, but I wanted you to have queued up the theremin. Play it at your leisure.
Well, he's writing a book. Apparently, he's already sent us the first chapter in a donation note. I'm writing a book inspired by the Holy Gift, which I'm working into a sacred text that I intend to be used at the visionary artist Alex and Allison Gray's Chapel of Sacred Mirrors in New York. Wow. Part of what keeps me happy and sane on my path of such a monumental task is the fact that the No Agenda Show, your balanced look at the heavily skewed media, does wonders for the soul. So thank you both and all the knights and dames out there, as well as the myriad producers, for helping to make my writing of this book an inevitability and as a tool to help humanity. I'd like to give out a shout-out to Dark Journalist and Olivia of the X series, which you can catch on YouTube most Friday evenings. They're doing the lion's share of cutting-edge work on the UFO files and secret technology, right up there in quality with Giza Death Star and Dr. Joseph Farrell, and, of course, No Agenda. I'd like to request some jingles. Jobs karma for all producers who need it. Would you read this, John, so I can get these jingles?
Well, I would if my mouse worked.
What's wrong with your mouth?
It just stopped working. There it is. It's coming back. Let's see. I got to go up.
Your mouth. Your mouse. I thought you said mouth. I was like, what's wrong with your mouth? Seems to be working.
My mouth. My mouse.
Mouse. No evidence anyone wants those things anyway. So
they don't. They want trackpads.
Yeah, they want touchscreens.
Yeah. I can't do that.
Okay, so Hillary saying he died, Obama saying you might die, 2 to the head, followed by Adam triumphantly explaining, Vince Foster, thou art avenged. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to do it.
So, that is the land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
You might die.
Foster, thou art avenged. And thank you very much, Nathan, for your support of the show.
All right, let's do a search here on this guy. The next donor, which is
Cameron?
No,
I have Cameron Dodd as the next with $220 from Pearl in Texas.
I'm sorry. No, I've got,
Okay.
Yeah, Cameron Dodd.
Yeah, I don't have anything from him. I'm looking, but I don't see any. Oh, I do, actually. Hi, John Adam. My wife Abby and I are expecting a new human resource named Liam in the coming days. Please send some new human resource karma. I've been listening to the show since my junior year in high school. The show has been with me for most of my adult life, and I'm very happy to be able to support it. Thank you very much.
That didn't show up in my email at all.
No, and I forwarded it to Eric, but who cares? It's okay. I'm not going to complain.
He takes my stuff. You have to send it to me. He gets too many double forwards.
Hey, would you stop talking through people's karma?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You've got karma.
And this was, you're on this email from Cameron, so I don't know what's wrong with your.
I couldn't find it. Well, it was from you then. It wasn't from him.
No. He sent it to you and me. You're even before me on the list.
I can't. I looked up Dodd. I looked up Cameron. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, squirrel mail, no spam.
Well, that could be the problem. Well, now we got another one, which I can't find.
No, we have Vasilios Plangentis from Annapolis, Maryland. Oh, it does say, please see email.
Yeah, hello.
What do you do when you prep in the morning? Do you look any of these emails up? Or is it just do it all on the show?
Before the show, but then I when you see, like, it looks like a field, like you just did. You exemplified the problem. You said, I got to find the email. I said, no, it's right here. And then you realize it says, please see the email after the fact, which is what makes it very easy to miss.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a big blank box.
I don't have an email from him.
Yeah, I don't have one either.
Okay. So we can't see an email. Sorry. That sucks.
Annapolis, Maryland, $211.11. Pat Cross is in Milford, Michigan. Now, he mailed it in, so it's pretty hard to lose those. Well, I mean, I can lose them, but it's pretty hard. Pat Cross at $211 flat. This is a notice longer than you normally want. He actually attached, he calls himself Douchebag Pat. He attached a copy of War and Peace.
As a donation note?
Well, he has a note about the note.
Okay.
So I'm reading the note about the note. He says, please read it, and you, at your best judgment for how much you want to read in the air, I'm making a mutually beneficial offer to you, me and your producers. I try to make the note as listener-friendly as possible. Keep up the great work. Thanks again. People like, I want to tell Pat and others that can do this, you should seriously consider book writing. Thanks again for the courage. And he calls himself Douchebag Pat. My name is Douchebag Pat, and I found your podcast starting with Horowitz, ultimately being hit in the mouth from DH Unplugged. Well, there's two of you. I try to be a 27% day trader like Adam.
It's been a while. Thanks, though.
It's interesting he said that. I no longer listen to Horowitz. So, John, you officially have a 57-year-old gray-haired missing tooth groupie who spins the scale 3 times while looking at his long past pasty white privilege. Congratulations on having a groupie de-douche me.
Okay.
You've been de-douched.
The final straw was getting – I'm skipping all his math. He's got a bunch of math here. The final straw was getting called out as a douchebag by Kevin, known as Sir Vic's barren wasteland of the hot southern bush, and Sir Cal of lavender blossoms. Kind of a tightly knit group.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those two.
I like a couple of others may have called me out. I immediately wrote a check, strapped it to the fastest-looking squirrel I could find, pointed it toward El Cerrito, slapped his ass, and sent him away. I pray he gets there in time for show 1111.
Made it.
He goes on.
It's beautiful.
Goes on. And I'll get to the end. Jingles. Okay, I should have read this first.
Yeah, you think?
I'd like to request a raven because strippers need attention too.
Yep, true.
Then the L Sharpton lines you have. That clown is funny.
What?
He's commenting on Al, not
Oh, okay. So what does he want? Just okay, whatever.
Anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been done, but could you also request Sparky the Dimension Crossing dog to bark?
No.
Well, Al Sharpton lines are playing.
No, can't do that. I need
the dog is entrenched in the Dimension machine.
Yeah, he's stuck in the machine. That's why he's there.
If we had a barking dog, we could do that, but we don't.
Well, we have. Well, of course, we have a barking dog.
Well, then throw a barking dog.
Okay, all right. And what else?
You guys used to cross Dimension B when I first started listening, and Sparky reminds me of our dog we had put down the day I'd first heard your podcast. All right. Let's go. That'll be it.
Oh, we're done? We're good?
Straight from Reseda, here she is, Raven. Give it up.
RESPICT. To the strange. Hillary Clinton focused on...
I hate that. It screwed me up. I'm sorry.
That was good.
No, it wasn't good.
You've got karma.
No, it was supposed to be Hillary barking, and it was like a whole clip of dumbness.
Well, he insists, and this is the last thing.
Here it is. Let's. There you go.
Yes, that's good, Sparky. I insist you re-douche me. Douchebag. Done with him.
Okay. Okay. It's whatever. That's
anonymous. $200. There'll be a last associate executive producer for show 1111. Thank you for not selling out and keeping the show independent. There's no large amount enough to quantify the amount of value and sanity you provide my family's lives. You guys have been on fire for a while. Keep it up. By the way, this is the only podcast I listen to at normal speed. There you go again.
Yep.
All the others are at 1.3 to 1.5x. Can I have a jobs karma, as it's time to see if the job market is truly as strong as we are led to believe?
All right.
Thanks again for a great show.
No, thank you very much. And here's
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Well, what a celebration. What a celebration. Do I alert the affiliates? The show is going long today. We're going to probably roll right into the first 3 acts of the Grammys. It's just, I don't know.
Oh, is the Grammys tonight?
I think it's tonight, yeah.
I never watch them. You have to watch them because it's your beat to watch for the Illuminati stuff.
The Illuminati stuff, exactly. Thank you very much, executive producers, associate executive producers, knights and dames to be. This is, it's always beautiful to see and although it'd be nicer if it was balanced so we had, kind of the same length of donation segment on every show, we totally understand these special number shows, and the fact that everyone gets in on it is just incredibly appreciated. That's how the value for value system works. We'll move forward for this for a while. We have more people to thank. There were some other 1111 donations. We'll get to those later on in our second segment. And yes, there will be another show, and we'll bring you more media deconstruction on Thursday right here. The support goes to
Dvorak.org/NA.
Okay, if you don't know it by now, we got a formula. Go out there, propagate it.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
The classic Hillary barking.
Now, there was something we were going to talk about that I had a clip
we were talking about Jill Abramson's plagiarism accusations.
I have 2 clips.
All right, let's do a background. Now that mentioned she did this book recently, which slammed the New York Times and a bunch of other journalists and the whole situation. Yeah. And then somebody found some lifted material in the book, and I have some thoughts on this.
All right, here's 2 clips. This is because this is a book slamming the media and apparently also slamming some left media. Jill Abrams, former New York Times editor, felt it was appropriate.
Is it Abrams or Abramson?
It's Abrams.
Yeah, I don't know why
no, it's Abramson. I'm sorry. It's
okay, good.
Abramson. Yeah, I believe so. Abramson. Jill, the Hummer, the Berkeley Hummer. She went on Fox with Martha McCullum. Mistake.
I mean, you're going to be asked to respond to this at some point, and I'll put them right in front of you.
All I can tell you
had a
is,
chance to look at them.
I certainly didn't plagiarize in my book. And, there are 70 pages of footnotes showing, where I got the information.
So do you think that it's possible that some of these are just not, they're incorrectly footnoted, perhaps? This one, Lizzie Whitcomb, the bad boy brand, the New Yorker, talks about Shorinsky told Wired that he doesn't remember reading the article and that his investment was a few $100,000. And then the next paragraph from your book is essentially the same. Do you think this is a footnote issue?
No, I don't think it's an issue at all.
So you're standing by your work 100%, and
yes.
I ask you because he's been going on, I guess, for the past 20 minutes.
Well, many people from Vice have been taking issue with the book. It seems,
And why is that?
I think they don't like the portrayal of Vice, although I think it's a very balanced portrait, and I have a lot of praise for some of their journalists and some of their stories. I like their fresh approach to news. So
you're on the record as saying that there's absolutely nothing in here that I haven't had a problem with, and you'll take a look at them.
Yet. I have another clip of her on NPR. Do you want to make your comments first?
No, I want to hear more of her talking.
Okay.
And devotion to the truth.
Well, let me start that one over. Accuracy. She doesn't. No, when she's the humming part, she only really does the vocal fry when she's really relaxed. When she's animated, it doesn't drag out as long. I think this is NPR, so you get to talk a little slower.
Accuracy and devotion to the truth are so important to me, and I take all of these allegations of inaccuracy and plagiarism very seriously. When I found the allegations have merit, I've moved very quickly to correct everything.
Abramson noted that the passages being questioned are about Vice News and conceded that they do raise questions.
I've looked at them, and in several of these cases, the language is too close for comfort and should have been specifically cited in the footnotes correctly. I'll explain to you why they weren't, or put in quotations in the book. And what is the problem here is that though I did cite these publications and tried to credit everybody perfectly, I fell short. And in the cases that Michael Moynihan cited, there isn't the correct page number for the credited citation, and I'm going to fix those pronto.
What I like about this is that no one in the audience gives a rat's ass about the story, about the shit you're saying, the footnotes. No one cares. This is so inside baseball, and they can't get enough of themselves. We're going to get it. And it's horrible for the audience. I'm sad we even played it, really.
I'm never sad to listen to her.
Well, she didn't. If she had done better.
Well, she could have done better, yes. Yeah. Well, I just want to talk about a few things because these accusations are flying, and I can do a little insight.
And this is for a journo, for a lib Joe to be accused of any kind of plagiarism is a huge issue. It sticks with you for a long time.
Yeah, you can. So here's what I think really happened. I wonder if she wrote the book.
Oh. Of course. What am I even thinking? Yes. Uh-huh.
I say that because I had an agent, a very famous agent in New York. This is 20 years ago.
Lefty?
And he put some book out, some philosophical book out, and he got busted for plagiarism. It turns out he didn't even write the book. He's a writer. But a lot of writers don't necessarily write something when they don't have time.
How do I get in on that? How can we do a podcast where someone else does the actual podcast?
You got to find two good mimics.
Okay.
Get Caliendo on here to do us. Right. Anyway, and then he just had to pull the book off the market. And he was pissed because of this guy. He was just really just sloppy. Now, the stuff that they were showing, McCallum was showing, was definitely plagiarism. There's no doubt about it. It was just lifted. And the reason that she has all these footnotes is because this is what you do when you job something out. You want them to make sure, I want you this documented because I don't want to get busted for something I did. And so that's why the book is over footnoted, because you don't normally write that way. I mean, you write some footnotes. You're not Arnold Toynbee. You don't really have to do a lot of footnotes in some sort of an expressive book about how you hate the media or how the journalism is sucky. And so I think that's what happened. Now, the other thing that's not discussed, because again, I don't know why, but these moments of 1 or 2 paragraph plagiarisms are generally just paid off. It's a payoff deal. That's the way it works.
Someone calls you up and says, "Hey, yo, you plagiarized my shit. Give me some money."
You do it through the agents.
Really? I didn't realize this. Oh, so
yes,
that's some inside info.
That's an accusation of plagiarism.
Huh.
If the agent or the book publishers look at it and they say, yeah, how much money do you want? And it's usually between.
Let me guess.
It's usually around $100, $200.
I was going to say no more than 500.
No, it's very rarely that much. It's just a little bit. I had this problem with one of my telecom books in a definition, in the glossary. There was some definition that was put in there, and it was too close to somebody else's write-up. And another thing people don't realize is dictionaries are copyrighted.
God, John, I'm learning a lot today. I did not know this.
You were poo-pooing this whole.
No, I'm poo-pooing. No, this is interesting. Hello, we're the best podcast in the universe. What part of best did you not get?
Now, dictionaries are copyrighted, and people don't realize that. So when you define, that's why you want to get those new words in as fast as you can, because you get to write the first definition, and everybody else and all the other dictionaries, that son of a bitch, I have to. And so you have to read.
Wait a minute. So an actual definition of a word. If we were to create the no agenda dictionary, it would be very different. But we couldn't take the description and say this is what that means. You have to write it a little differently. So wow.
Yeah, all dictionaries. That's why you look at 10 different definitions from 10 dictionaries, and they'll all be a little different, except for maybe some reference to the past that they. Because if it was public domain, for example, an old definition from the 1600s.
Man. You're just blowing my mind. Hold on a second. So dictionaries are really. They're not defining, they're not proof, they're just documentary evidence of language. So a dictionary is not really an authority. It's an interpretation.
The older the dictionary, the better chance you have of getting a very focused definition. That Oxford English Dictionary would be a good example. But if the definition has fallen into into public domain because it's like 100 years old. So you can take a 100-year-old Oxford English Dictionary, go buy one, they're around, and then you can just steal all the definitions from that. You're good to go because that's all public domain.
Got it.
But if you got a new word coming up like bonehead or
you want to be the first
5G, you got to jump on that right away and write your own definition. And what these dictionary companies do, they have a lot of research that goes on, and they have all the other dictionaries, and they check. It's not easy to do.
Can I ask you a question? Could we then, for instance, I saw the Jamoke and Jabroni, all these have started showing up in more popular dictionaries that we reference on the show. Could we do a no agenda dictionary, just has words and definitions in there that we've used on the show, publish it as a gimlet or whatever, giblet, so that we can then sue the dictionaries when they steal our stuff?
Well, it's not a matter of suit. That's my next point, which is, if you took a whole dictionary and published it, sure, that would be a problem.
Oh, I see.
But to go back to my anecdote, which is I had a definition in my glossary that was from something else, and it seemed to be pretty close. And so I think I had to pay like $75. That's as far as it goes.
Well, that's not too bad.
No. And so you give them the $75, which is the license. You're basically now, the $75 is for a license.
One time, lifetime license.
To use that in that book.
Yeah,
I can't do it again.
No.
But in that book, it would be 75. So you pay that, and that's what the situation with Jill's little plagiaristic paragraph.
That's okay. So that's something very different. Oh my goodness.
So that would have been. I looked at that graph and the one she wrote, and it seems to me that was probably $100, maybe $150. To get them to say, just I mean, the embarrassment is still there, and the whole book may be riddled with this stuff, which is what happened with my agent's book. He had to pull it off the market because it was riddled. Because the guy who actually wrote the book was just stealing everything, and he didn't know any better. And I think, by the way, with today's youngsters who aren't taught anything, they don't know anything. I think
probably don't see it as wrong.
You're always taking a risk when you're hiring these kids.
They don't. Yeah, they don't understand the true concept of copyright and plagiarism. Probably, it's the internet is based on copying. That's what it is. A copy machine.
Yeah,
everything you do.
Yeah,
it's a copy.
Yeah.
You send me an email.
Copyright violation.
Yeah, machine.
Cesspool.
Yeah, that's right. Copyright violation swamp. That the internet is literally based on copying data from one point to the other.
Yep.
Oh wow. It's not like you brought down that web page and now the server's empty.
Right. Yes, exactly. So I thought these things needed clarification because.
Thank you. That's very good.
I think she's being. I mean, they like to hound her. I think that's funny. It's there's humor in it, and Fox likes to go after her. But I think it's unjustified. Let's put it that way.
Well,
from a honest, if you're going to be honest about it.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. You will not hear that analysis anywhere. Everyone's just guffawing and sniffling like me. Now we know exactly. So it really is. They just hate her. They hate that she did anything that even slightly negative, and they just jump on her. But it's really mierenoken.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
All right, got it.
All right. Anyway, so that clears that up.
Good.
Now you know.
Grammys. Tonight are the Grammys. And so there's been some pre-Grammy controversy, as we always like to do. We always have to have some controversy going on. This is something that kind of slipped by the radar, but it wasn't until I did a typical no agenda look up to figure out, just if it was worth bringing to the show. This is about the arrest of 21 Savage. Have you read anything about 21 Savage?
Yes, I have. I don't know. I didn't look into it, and I didn't pay much attention.
So Joy Reid thought it was very important because this is horrible. He's an immigrant. He's an illegal immigrant, and he's been arrested, and it's just horrible. And bring the lawyer on, white guy lawyer. And I cut down like 8-minute segments to a minute and a half just to give you a taste.
Is there any background on this? Because I don't think anyone knows what we're talking about.
Well, the clip is the background.
Okay, good.
21 Savage is an artist. He's a performer from Atlanta. He was arrested by ICE because he's here illegally.
Just days after delivering that stinging critique of Trump's immigration.
Oh, I'm sorry. I needed to connect it to something. I guess he went on the Tonight Show, or I don't know which late night show he went on, and bitched and moaned about the immigration system while being an illegal immigrant in the United States. Yeah. So guess what? They picked him up.
Just days after delivering that stinging critique of Trump's immigration policies, not to mention the Flint water crisis, on The Tonight Show, Grammy-nominated rapper 21 Savage was arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement authorities on Super Bowl Sunday in Atlanta. According to ICE, the rapper, whose real name is Shiabin Abraham Joseph, is a UK citizen who overstayed his visa and has a felony drug conviction. But his lawyers dispute that. They say Savage's family overstayed their work visas, and he was left without legal status, like nearly 2 million other migrants who came to the U.S. as children. Joseph has lived in Atlanta since entering the U.S. at the age of 7, but now faces possible deportation. Joining me now is his attorney, Charles Cuck.
Now, before we get into Charles, the attorney, I just wanted to mention, I'm familiar with this exact situation. As a friend of mine, her husband, who was here illegally, I knew about it. I actually helped her get legal. He had to wait another year before he could claim his whatever status it was. I forget exactly what it is. But he got pulled over because of a temporary license plate. And the procedure is as follows. I know the procedure because it just happened a couple months ago. They arrest you. In this case, they take you down to San Antonio. You sit there for a week. You wait until you get an immigration lawyer. Then you have to post an immigration bond, which is anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000. And they will hold on to that for the next 2 years. You have to keep out of trouble and, don't get arrested, no DUIs, no jaywalking. And then you will get a resident status. And so it's actually, I was quite amazed the system kind of worked. The judge listened to his case. He's been here 20 plus years. And he said, okay, you got family here. You got kids born here. I'm not going to send you back, but you get 2 years probation and you got to pay this bond. So everyone goes through that. I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised that, apparently there are some people in the immigration system who have compassion and think about, what do we do with this guy? So this is the same situation, overstayed visa, been here for a long time.
Charles, thank you very much for being here. We know now that Jay-Z has added to your legal team a gentleman named Alex Spiro is now part of the defense team with you guys, and he has said that the goal is now to get him out of detention. What's the status of that effort?
Well, that's why we've been relatively quiet this week. We released a couple of statements just to clarify some of the facts that have been misreported in the press because of ICE statements to the press when he was detained. But this week we've been working behind the scenes with ICE, providing them with information about the fact that he has no conviction, providing them with information that he has remarkable ties to the community. He works with the police. He works with local prosecutors to get rid of gun violence, to encourage kids not to get into gangs. We've got letters from congressmen that have come forward, and we thought we had an opportunity to get him out just on ICE, letting him go. And so we will now go to immigration court. Immigration court is not like real courts. We have to go through a process to get in front of an immigration judge and ask that immigration judge for a bond in his case. Unlike real courts in which you'd hear 24 to 48 hours later, it will take a week or so to get in front of those judges to get him a bond.
So they just go on and on. Oh, it's so horrible. He's in jail. I have to post a bond. All of this after the guy went on TV, bitched about immigration.
Time code.
Okay, 216. But here's the thing. Who are we really talking about?
Trump.
No. This guy, he's worked with the local community and everything. He's a good guy. He's a good kid. He's got his white lawyers and everything. Let me just read some of 21 Savage's lyrics. I buy a new car for the bitch. I tear down the mall with the bitch. You can't even talk to the bitch. She fucking with bosses and shit. I be Gucci down. You wearing Lacoste and shit. Yeah, Moncler. Yeah, fur came off a bear. Got him tennis chains on. They real blingy. Draco make you do the chicken head like Chingy. Walking Neiman Marcus. I spend a life 50. 7,500 Saint Laurent jacket. Yeah. I mean, it just goes. It's all like fucking bitches, Gucci's. Oh, here we go. Yeah, dog, or yeah, no, dog, yeah, for real, straight up out the 6. Now got a house in the hills, dog. Want to see a body, nigga? Get you killed, dog. Want to tweet about me, nigga? Get you killed, dog. Kill, dog. This is what we're arguing about? This upstanding citizen? Get out of town, Joy Reid. And you look at any of his lyrics. That's what it is. It's what it is. And here we he has to get an immigration bond. Meanwhile, this poor sap who's got suckered into construction 2 decades ago when it was all cool to come across the border. He gets the same treatment. Jeez. I get a little worked up about these
that was good.
Figureheads of the community.
We start reading more rap lyrics when we talk about these guys.
Whoo! Alrighty then.
A lot of it's pretty hateful.
What, his lyrics?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of hate about America. I'm going to lead you into your clips because I saw you got them. I'm very curious. The AOC, she's done a number of interviews, and I know you have a couple, so I'm curious.
Well, I have the one clip, then I have the whole clip. At least I have most of it. But I was noticing, especially that it starts right away with clip 1, where she makes this stupid commentary. And I will tell you this is what I liked about this clip. Now, this is like, I don't know whose clip this is originally, but it's not the best. But she went out and talked about the Green New Deal with a bunch of old white men stooges behind her, nodding their heads. And she's going on and on with her bull crap. She's full of it. And the thing is that this good stuff, which is in this first clip, Democracy Now!, CBS, NBC, all these guys from the most lefty Democracy Now! To everybody in between. Maybe Fox played it. I'm sure Fox did play it. I'd be surprised if they didn't. They all assiduously avoided this little thing that's right in this particular clip. You'll hear it in there, and you go, what is she talking about?
So incredibly excited that we are going to transition this country into the future, and we are not going to be dragged behind by our past. I'm so excited by that. I think that today is not just a big day for us as a delegation, us as a party, us as a movement, but this is a big day for activists all over the country and for frontline communities all over the country. Today is a big day for people who have been left behind. Today is a big day for workers in Appalachia. Today is a big day for children that have been breathing dirty air in the South Bronx. Today is a really good day for families who have been enduring the injustices of drinking dirty water, or who have seen their living rooms being flooded in with the waves of rising sea levels.
Wait, I want one of those families on the show. Hold on a second. The sea levels, what?
Flooded. Their front rooms are flooded with the rising sea levels. These poor people.
Before you continue, just so we understand what happened with this, the launch of this Green New Deal was a little confusing. First of all, we read the original Green New Deal before she was even... before she was sworn into office. It's been on her website, but now we have a new Green New Deal.
Yeah, it's new.
And the new Green New Deal is an actual. Now it's not law. It's not a bill. It's a resolution. Right. And the resolution itself.
This is like if we watch C-SPAN all the time. Resolution. I resolve to call the post office in Berkeley, California.
It's not even like that. It's like
it's not even like that.
It's like the United Nations crap. It's like we resolve. It starts with agreements. Like, we agree that climate change is real. We agree that we have to, keep CO2. We have to keep temperatures at 1.5 degrees in the next 10 years. Therefore, we resolve that. We will do our best to write laws and stuff to make that happen. So it's a resolution, which is, there's no law, nothing. And I haven't heard anyone say that properly, really. But the thing that happened is they released an FAQ, of frequently asked questions. And it immediately got doctored, redistributed, put in farting cows. There's all, the stuff about
Thank you, Internet.
We need to have people who, we need to be able to pay for people who are unable to work or unwilling to work. Whether it was original or doctored or not, and that everyone, included Tucker Carlson, is like, bro, this is what it says, and this is what... Just look at the actual document. The resolution is a bunch of yippy, hippy, dippy shit that doesn't make any difference. It's just positioning something. And it doesn't say anything about the farting cows or paying people who are unwilling to work. None of that is in there. So you've all been had.
Or the piss recycling.
Now, none of that is in there.
That's my favorite.
But the internet just went, and the machine. It's exactly what happened. The machine went nuts over it. But it was all about the FAQ. And you could see like these different copies floating around. It's like,
the joke of it, though, is that this little moment of her kind of stammering and talking about people's front rooms being flooded by rising
makes
tides.
it better. It makes it better.
But it's like, why wasn't anybody talking about this?
Well, I have an answer to this.
Well, let me get your white clips and you can.
Yeah, why don't you play? What is the next clip? And
the next clip is the rest of her little spiel, to almost the rest of it, and which has got more weird junk in it. And then I have the third clip is Markey coming out with a crazy. You can maybe talk after she does, because Markey comes on next. And he says the stupidest thing I've ever heard, ever, at least for the last couple of weeks.
Never in our history.
No, I don't play
you
that
said
yet.
Next. Okay. Which one am I playing? The AC Part 2 ramble?
Rising sea levels. And today, I think, is a really big day for our economy, the labor movement, the social justice movement, indigenous peoples, and people all over the United States of America.
Yeah, by the way, that is in the resolution. It states that solving the issues of the day with climate change will result in more equity and all that crap. So that's why she's saying that.
This is, by the way, what you just said is really comes to the fore with Markey, and it's like they're making it so they're on the job, they're on the war path, to quote a Elizabeth Warren phrase. They're on the war path to making a connection between global warming and injustice.
Inequity, I think, is the term.
Well, they also injustice, inequity for sure.
Rising sea levels. And today, I think, is a really big day for our economy, the labor movement, the social justice movement, indigenous peoples, and people all over the United States of America. Because today is the day that we truly embark on a comprehensive agenda of economic, social, and racial justice in the United States of America. That's right. That's what this agenda is all about. Because climate change and our environmental challenges are one of the biggest existential threats to our way of life. Not just as a nation, but as a world. And in order for us to combat that threat, we must be as ambitious and innovative in our solution as possible. So what we are doing today and in introducing these resolutions here today is that it's not a bill. It is a resolution. And what this resolution is doing is saying this is our first step. Our first step is to define the problem and define the scope of the solution. And so we're here to say that small, incremental policy solutions are not enough. That's right. They can be part of a solution, but they are not the solution unto itself. There is no justice and there is no combating climate change without addressing what has happened to indigenous communities. That means that there is no fixing our economy without addressing the racial wealth gap. That means that we are not going to transition to renewable energies without also transitioning frontline communities and coal communities into economic opportunity as well.
All right.
Now, if you want to give your little analysis, but I do have one little clip, a 3-second clip to play as a potential ISO.
Well,
for
what
the
do we
end
do
of the
with
show?
When does the Ed Markey thing come in?
That's after you make your comments.
No, it's not. Okay, what's the ISO?
Okay. Well, let's play the ISO first.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the end of the show. Yeah, okay, here's Markey. Now, Markey, I think Markey is a complete freak, and I think he does a better job of creating a bull crap kind of, connection between one thing and another, and he keeps doing it. He's more political than she is, and it's probably I think he's totally off the wall here. But play this.
And he's the co-sponsor of the resolution.
He came up right after she was done.
Never in our history have the interests of all Americans been so united on a single issue: climate change. From the air we breathe, to the jobs that employ us, to the neighborhoods we live in, to the economy we operate within. Climate change defines our existence. Global temperatures are the highest in recorded history. Wealth inequality is at its highest point since the era of the Great Depression. The erosion of our coastlines, the erosion of the earning power of workers, the pollution of our planet, the pollution of our democracy by big oil and Koch brother financing. The interrelationship of these ills and injustices is undeniable. But the challenge is not insurmountable.
Are you ready for my, quote, little analysis? Or
can you imagine, by the way, yes, I wanted to hear it, but he makes it sound, I don't know about you, but I can go weeks and weeks, except for this show, maybe, but I could go months and never get into a conversation with anybody that I know or meet or talk to at the grocery store or any place else where climate change comes up in the conversation.
No.
It just doesn't happen. He makes it sound like that's all that's going on. Oh, my God.
Okay. I'll analyze that part first. Here is what is happening. The climate change, just as something by itself, let's call man-made. You wouldn't even have to use man-made at this point, except for the fact that there's apparently a man-made solution to it. This is what we've been told, is it's our fault, but we can solve it by producing less CO2. That's the basis of the argument. This entire argument, going back to when it was going to be global cooling, which was in the 70s by many of the same people, and then global warming, Al Gore. You have to know about the Chicago carbon exchange. You have to know about Maurice Strong. There's a lot of stuff behind it. But that climate change, global warming crowd were about making money off of it. Let's start. And by the way, it's not a horrible idea to have industry more for change or create a new industry that has room for growth, because we're out of growth in a lot of our areas. So where else can we make money? Well, we create something new as this climate change, and we'll have prices on carbon, and we'll have a whole money systems. And that's what it was abused for. Now you have this whole generation of kids who've been told we're all going to die, 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 you're going to die. And we have a report come out just last year that says if we don't do something in 12 years, it's going to be too late, we're all going to die. So people like AOC, not her, the people behind her, the Justice Democrats, the former Bernie bros, they have taken this and they're abusing this climate change to say, oh, no, we fix this and we know how to fix it because it's something that men can fix. Man can fix this, then we will fix all the injustice and inequity that you have, all you horrible, sad people who vote for me, because if you have some kind of inequity in your life, if you're a victim of something, and we solve climate change, it's going to solve it for you. Neither of these parties, AOC doesn't really believe we're going to die. She really doesn't believe that. But this has presented a big problem. You heard Markey say, it's the warmest ever. No, bullshit. We just heard that 2018 was the fourth warmest year on record. Now, is this celebrated worldwide by saying, holy crap, it went down. It's working. It's working. We're going to live. No, it's just a blip, anomaly, but it's still the warmest popular years. No one wants to tell you the truth. But here is the big problem. The climate scientists and the climate scientific community, apparently 97 to 98 to 99.9% agree that this is happening, and it's done by men and women and people and horrible humans. They are fucked, because now we have 2030 is 10 years away, and they're still going to be around when we don't die. And people like AOC who are saying, who are really bringing it home. They're making it very visual in a lot of cases. You just heard her talk about the seas sloshing through your living room. The climate scientists are going, oh, man, we're going to look pretty stupid. This report from our own people came out just last year. It says, if we don't fix it by 2030, it's over. We're toast. We're done for. Now, they don't really believe it either. This is why, and you identified it first, it looks like they're starting to walk it back a little bit. The scientists are starting to walk it back. They're walking it back in little bits, little pieces, all over the place. Clouds, or it's a little harder to do modeling. Well, Alec Baldwin had two of the top U.S. climate scientists on his show. And his show, I'm going to call it a podcast because...
It is a podcast, isn't it?
It's on the NPR station in New York.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, it's a podcast. And I pulled a couple of, they're all relatively short clips. But just some of the insanity and some of the things you hear them say, I think shows that they're kind of a little more open-ended now. And I think we're going to see a lot more walking back of this, just how horrible it is. So this is Kate, what's her name? I'll look it up when we play. She's the one that talks the most.
How much of it is some cyclical geologic history? And even if the contribution we're making is just the one straw that breaks the camel's back, isn't that enough to get you to want to curtail our behavior?
I think that's actually a really good question. I'm glad you asked it, because people keep telling climate scientists, like, oh, the climate's always changed. And we're like, we know, we told you that.
Now, first of all, her name is Kate Marvel, and she's very arrogant to say this right off the bat like that. But okay.
We are essentially the people who study that. We figured that out. What percentage of the warming right now are humans responsible for? Over 100%.
100%.
No, over. This is a scientist.
I missed that.
Yeah, because you need to be quiet when I'm playing clips. Over 100%. She'll say it not once but twice.
What percentage of the warming right now?
You're playing my clips.
Your clips?
Anyway, go on.
What do you mean your clips?
But wait a minute. Let's stop right there.
This is my clip. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying when my clips are playing, you talk over them, and I can't really do much about it. Stop anyway. That's beside the point. The point is, for one thing, I missed that. Because I listened to the beginning of the show, too. I couldn't stand her because she's so arrogant. And this other guy's the dean of science. I didn't even know this science has a dean, but okay, he's the dean of science at Columbia. I missed that because that is borderline clip of the day stuff to say, and she's a physicist.
Yeah.
To say over 100%.
I would take my borderline then.
How does that even work?
Well,
she's a scientist and she's saying over 100%, and she's doing it with authority.
Well, she's one of the top U.S. climate scientists there is. So
now that you bring it up and I could catch it now, I'm very appalled.
We are essentially the people who study that. We figured that out. What percentage of the warming right now are humans responsible for? Over 100%. Humans are responsible for more than all of the warming, because if it wasn't for us, the Earth would be cooling very slightly.
More than all of the warming. We're responsible for more than all of the warming. I mean, what is that? What is that?
It would be. Because of what the sun's doing. The sun is getting ever so slightly weaker. So yeah, if it wasn't for us, tiny variation in the sun's output would be making it colder.
That's the first I've ever heard it put that way. The sun is actually getting a little bit weaker, she says, which I've never heard anyone say. And if it weren't for us, it would be getting colder. I think there's some takeaway there. So the sun is actually cooling down a bit, and she's agreeing with it.
The sun does have a cycle.
Well, but she's saying it in general, not just as a part of the solar minimum.
No, I understand.
Yeah. Baldwin asks a very cool question. He doesn't know it, but he's asking about chemtrails, which, of course, would never happen.
Do you feel that people are always talking about some radical solution? I was reading online, and they talk about dimming the sun was the article the other day. They're going to spray the clouds and the atmosphere with a chemical.
Yeah, it's called chemtrails.
Does that concern you, that kind of attitude that there's some quick fix that can happen?
Absolutely, that concerns me. I mean, first, it just begets this kind of hubris that humans can control everything, and we're far from that. I mean,
do you hear what he's saying?
Just the opposite of the thesis.
Thank you very much. He's saying the opposite of what the party line is.
There's nothing more humbling than trying to solve the climate problem. The work that Kate does, for example, in the climate modeling, it's an incredibly hard problem. And, you know, the amount of intellectual horsepower that has to go in just to pose the question to understand the attribution.
I know. This is irksome. I know.
This is the reason I think a lot of people get so brain scrambled. First of all, the thesis is that man is causing this problem. And then the second thesis is man can't do anything that would cause or not cause the problem. They can't fix the problem. They're useless. They're just a bunch of little dots on the globe. So which is it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the amount of intellectual horsepower that
I like the amount of intellectual horsepower that's needed just to even think about climate models. I'm going to roll that back a little bit. You got to hear climate models is incredible. incredibly difficult. It's so hard to do.
There's nothing more humbling than trying to solve the climate problem. The work that Kate does, for example, in the climate modeling, it's an incredibly hard problem. And, you know, the amount of intellectual horsepower that has to go in just to pose the question to understand what the attribution story is, how much of the global warming is due to human activities and natural factors. That's a tremendously complicated problem.
Just even to ask the question.
Hold on, didn't she just say over 100% was, and he just said
very difficult. You need such an intellectual brain to even think about these models. So, Kate, tell me about the data models.
Describe for me, Kate, what exactly is the work you're doing now?
So I work on climate models, which are computer simulations of the climate, and those allow us to...
Now, I don't want to spoil it, but she's going to tell us what incredible work she can do with these climate models. And, I mean, what would you expect when it comes to some examples of these climate modeling that she's doing?
Hockey stick.
No, I mean, just what kind of things would she be looking at?
Oh, she would be looking at I have no idea.
Okay. Well.
Ice cores.
So I work on climate models, which are computer simulations of the climate, and those allow us to do projections into the future, but they also let us do experiments that we couldn't do in the real world. So, you know, what if a volcano went off in London?
Oh, now I know what you're spending your time on.
What would that do? What if humans didn't exist? What would the Earth look like?
I mean, what if a volcano went off in London? Important scientific work.
So I work with climate models. I work with an incredible amount of data that comes out of those models. And because I sit at an office of NASA, I work with satellite data sets to try to see what are the models telling us, what's actually happening, and are those the same thing?
Sounds like she's just goofing off. Volcano in London. What is that about? Is there any volcanic activity near London that we should be worried about for the climate?
I don't know if there's ever been volcanoes or because there's no volcanic mountains there.
No, it's just dumb. So,
it's dumb.
Pretty soon in this interview, what are we going to do about it? Well, there's obviously only one answer, and I think that they are from Group 1 and not Group 2. Group 2 is the Justice for All, Equity for All group. They're still working with money from the old group.
What would be, I'll go with you first, Peter, what would be some of the things that you would do right now to address this problem?
Right. So if I was king of the world, the thing that I would do right now is support the Green New Deal, which is this investment in infrastructure and resupplying, repowering the planet. It's a shift toward renewables. It's adopting wide-scale battery storage. It's basically
adopting wide-scale battery storage. What does that mean? Wide-scale battery storage.
I don't know.
Batteries are just batteries. They're not all that great.
Up in this country, national climate resilience as a way of addressing the climate problem, because there's, in my opinion, there's no solution toward this other than an economic market-based one. We can't drive the world into poverty. We can't drive the world into, a dramatic way of living relative to where we are now, certainly on the timescale we're talking about, which is my lifetime. This is not even my children's full lifetime. This is at the end of our lifetimes. We're going to be seeing these impacts.
What about you? What would you do if you were I don't want to get it right gender-wise. If you were the king.
Mm-hmm. I can be whatever I want.
I can be whatever I want.
Right now, emitting carbon dioxide is free.
Right.
We don't charge anybody to do that. And I don't think it should be free because there is a cost to it. We're all paying that price. Right. And so I would put a price on carbon dioxide. I would say you cannot do this for free. You actually have to pay the social cost.
So I think at this point, I'm sorry.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Oh, please.
I'm sure about now, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that Baldwin, in all his, high intellect, said, hey, since this is a situation that is existential, meaning our existence is at stake, we have to move as fast as possible. What about turning everything off, having a 5-year time period to do it, turning every fossil fuel plant and everything like that off and putting nuclear energy and everywhere and going to an all-electric economy. And that would end the CO2 emissions to zero almost within 5 years.
Well, he didn't ask it at this point in the conversation, but I'm happy to skip ahead.
I am agnostic on nuclear power. I'm actually willing to be convinced one way or the other, because it is true that in the course of generating electricity, nuclear does not produce carbon dioxide emissions. I think you're absolutely right that you have to take into account mining and enriching the uranium, both of which are energy intensive processes. And then the fact that once you turn on a nuclear reactor, you have a 10,000, 100,000 year nuclear waste problem. And you have
beyond
to,
that too.
and you have to figure out what to do with that.
Decontamination, decommissioning, all those companies are going to turn around. They're going to sit there and they go, wow, we thought we had set aside enough money and we thought we had government supervised funds where we set aside enough money, but we really don't. And then we're going to wonder, are we going to have a lot of Hanfords all around the country?
One thing I do want to point out is there hasn't been a nuclear reactor built in this country in my lifetime. And that is not because environmentalists have been mean to nuclear. That's because it's not cost effective. It's not, if it made money, people would do this. And so I kind of think that how I feel about nuclear doesn't matter.
What about you, Peter?
Yeah, my viewpoints are not that different than yours. But actually, I'd like to also ride this middle ground, which is that let's put it on the table. Let's put it on the table and have people decide. And the decision inevitably comes to don't build it near me. And then it comes to where are we going to put the storage. I actually got a master's degree in nuclear waste management. And one of the results of my study was that we had no place to bury these. The idea was to try to pursue undersea storage.
And they're just leaving it in the tanks in the water on the site.
Exactly. And so it's a mess that's not cleaned up. And the failed Yucca Mountain storage facility is a classic example.
It's a dead issue. They're never going to come back on it.
Right, exactly. So here we gave our absolute best effort, our top scientists trying to figure out where to put this stuff, and they couldn't agree.
But if you asked me, do you want a nuclear plant built next door to you or a coal plant? I'd choose the nuclear plant every day. Because if you are interested in harming people, killing people, the best way to do that is to build a coal plant.
So I found this very enlightening. I was saving it for the last because you never hear them say this. They're poorly informed. Clearly, they do not know that modern reactors actually reuse their own waste. So they're all misinformed on that. But I think it's also part of, we should not we can't really be telling everyone we're all going to die because we're really not. In fact, I think this, I'll just make this the last clip. This kind of proves that they know they're full of shit.
I mean, the Earth's a rock, right? It's a really...
Oh, hold on. Whoa. Did you hear what the physicist said? The Earth's a rock, right?
I mean, the Earth's a rock, right? It's a really special rock, but the Earth doesn't care about climate change. It's still going to be here. And I'm not sure that climate change is an immediate threat to human existence, but I know that it is an immediate threat to human happiness and human civilization. And so a lot of times...
It's an immediate threat to the way we live now.
For sure. 100%.
For sure.
And a lot of times people ask me are humans going to be extinct? Are we doomed? And I kind of feel like, we're probably not doomed, but I have higher standards. You know what I mean? If that's the best thing you can say after a day, you're like, I didn't go extinct today, then it wasn't a good day.
Row, row, row your boat backwards up the stream. We're not going to die. This is the top client side. It's less happiness. Oh. Well, okay. This to me is the evergreen clip forever. We're not going to die from this. No. I don't want to look that stupid in 12 years when I'm still around and we're not dead. No, we'll just be less happy.
Well, this is kind of what happened with all the guys who were all in with Y2K. Because it was really within just a few years that they had to eat their words. And I have a friend who was one of them all in. And it wasn't like they weren't sincere. That's the thing with the climate change people, too. I disagree that Cortez is insincere, for example. They were all sincere about Y2K. They were making a lot of money. Same thing. You make a lot of money. You kind of convince yourself that what you're doing is you can be sincere by all the cash you're making. But if you like a year after the whole thing was over, you'd run into one of these guys and write them a little bit about this? Holy mackerel, did they get angry.
Really?
Oh. It was like, holy, okay, hold on.
This is the model. So here's the model. Because I know there's plenty of people who say, yeah, because we spent all the money, we did all the work, we saved the world from total disaster in Y2K. I'm sure that's the story with most of these people.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with the idea that this year is not the warmest.
No, fourth warmest.
Because you can now start, this is your excuse to start backing it off. All the things we've done, all the good work we did, all the cutbacks we made, all the Obama laws, all this stuff has apparently made a difference.
Yeah, but that doesn't solve the problem for the carbon pricing people. It doesn't solve AOC's problem. She wants all kinds of stuff and, money to spend on things. And
okay. Now I got an alternative. Same thing. Only this time it's way in the future where the argument would go like this. Now, the thing is, Adam, we've noticed that back in 2018, this was already reversing. We just didn't realize it at the time.
Sounds legit. Do you remember Georgetown, Texas, just north of ATX? Georgetown, who bogatively claimed that they were an all-green city. Oh, green right now? Green energy? And we deconstructed that to mean that they were connected to other green providers on their grid. How did that work out for them? Let's check in a year later.
Meanwhile, a small town in Texas winning high praise from Al Gore and the Green Movement when it made all of its electricity 100% renewable back in 2012.
Now, so I assume that the reason you did this is that the two of you are just rabid environmentalists.
Well, not exactly a conservative Republican. Okay. But, our duty to our ratepayers is to provide them with the lowest possible utility costs.
And money talks.
Well, Al, you're absolutely right. Money talks to the tune of nearly $30 million a year, which is what the city of Georgetown lost when they realized they could not rely on wind for power. Chuck DeVore is vice president of the...
Well, then they go into some douchebag from a think tank. But they wound up paying about $1,000 per family more. Actually, over a 3-year period. So I guess it wasn't just last year. It was 3 years ago. Yeah, so it cost them more. Didn't work out. They lied and they lost. And the whole thing is rather complicated with this backdrop.
Rena, we're at the famous Pike's Place Market, and all of this snow here is a very unusual sight. To put it in perspective, Seattle usually gets about 6.8 inches of snow a year. They got slightly more than that in just one day.
I mean, at a certain point, weather's not climate. It's been freezing at night here in Texas.
It was cold here last night, and it was my Mimi's up north at
she must be freezing her butt off.
She snowed in. 2 feet of snow. It can't get anywhere, and she says she wouldn't go on the road anyway because nobody knows how to drive in the snow, and they're smashing into each other.
Is she okay? Do we need some producers to go and bring her supplies?
No, she's smart enough to get a house full of supplies. Okay. We're hoarders.
Archivist.
Plenty of supplies, 2 freezers.
Archivist is my preferred term, but
and another thing that's cool is that when it's cold like that, you can put all the milk and a lot of the stuff in the refrigerator right outside. Just put it right there in the snowbank.
My question is, who is controlling HARP? I mean, someone's making the weather this way. I just want to know who has their finger on the button.
Well, it was storming here last night like I haven't seen for a long time. It was just battering the place, and then it raining. It got very cold. So it was sunny this morning.
Anyway, so I think basically all eyes on scientists walking stuff back a little bit. Oh, and I did have one, just a funny kind of thing, because the parents in the Netherlands are starting to catch on. They're getting really pissed off. They're figuring out now that their kids, Brussels is kind of spilled over to the Netherlands. Now the Dutch kids also want to protest climate change, all bundled up in their wool hats and their scarves and their gloves. And this truancy is being promoted by the schools. And parents are saying, well, hold on a second. Why this? Just tell me what's going on. And what's coming to light is this group Youth in Action, which is promoting this, is going to the schools, giving the schools materials. This is a 100% fully subsidized outfit, subsidized by the European Parliament, the European Union, that is Youth in Action, and they are part of, wait for it, the European Solidarity Corps. Remember we talked about them?
Yeah.
340.
You better remind people because it wasn't talked about recently.
Yeah, the last show. 340 million euros in the budget for the European Solidarity Corps. I will read a little bit. The European Solidarity Corps is a professional mobility scheme for young people aged 18 to 30 who are citizens and residents of the European Union. Funded by the EU, but run among others by Pôle Emploi, the French public employment service, and its European partners for the occupational strand, it covers the entire territory of the European Union. Therefore, it offers you the opportunity to go and work in another member state and get involved in paid placements that are useful to people and the community. This is like a protest group that they ship around the whole union. Yeah. And it's really, I mean, you read through this. It's in the show notes, of course. It's easy, useful, and effective. All you have to do is register at the European Commission portal dedicated to European Solidarity Corps. From there, you'll get your armband, your hat, and your secret badge. Doesn't really say that. So these are the people pushing it. It is the European Union who is pushing this. And
what do you think they have? What is the point?
Money, taxes to get people to buy into to bullcrap. Get them to buy into climate change more. You know, just that's what it is. The kids are out there. Oh, well, the kids are out. So if the kids are doing it, must be real. Let's cut it. Do whatever the government tells you to do. Control, brainwashing.
Very
child abuse. How about that?
It's child abuse.
Child abuse.
All right.
You got anything?
I got more, but I think we should
take a break.
Thank a few people.
Okay, hold on a second. We should do that officially in the way that sounds the best.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
We have a few people to thank, obviously, for show 1111. And we'll start with Margaret Schultz over here in San Francisco, $132.32. And she has a birthday call out and some other things. Is there anything here that we should read? I think maybe. No agenda, feeling otherwise tedious BART commute. So I'm surprised you can hear the show if you're on BART. Mainly because of the noise of the silent tracks. Christopher Harabaruk in Pickering, Ontario, 12343.
This is the square of 1111? Is that true?
No, the square of 1111 is 121.
Oh, it's close, he says. Okay. Close. I don't know what he's saying here. All right.
Philip Veenstra in Chatham, Illinois, 12121. And now the following people, I'm going to read them name and location if I have a location. These are the people who came in with the square. This is the competition between the square of 11 times 11, 11 times 11, the square of 11, which is 121, versus the $111.10 donation. Ready?
Yeah, stop at Groenewoud because he's being a knight and I got to read his note.
Paul Tittle, 121. Scott Finland. Eric Grunewold.
Yeah, here's where we got to stop for a second. He's from South Africa, I believe. First of all, thanks for the 800-plus podcasts I had the pleasure of listening to for the past 10 years. It's a great way to make the hours in the day more enjoyable at work and commuting and staying sane, commercial-free. With this donation, I am finally a knight and a bit over. Don't know exactly how much over as I've been donating via various PayPal accounts. Yes, I would like to be knighted Sir Eric, the Nithrone Knight. Nithrone being the custom motorbike seat cover company that generates the funds for my donations. Oh, Nithrone, hashtag Nithrone on Instagram. For the roundtable, please add boerenkool met worst and karnemelk met suiker, which is some Dutch-ass stuff. Kind regards from Erik Groenwoud, another Dutch member of the Roundtable living in Melkbosstrand near Cape Town, South Africa, previously IJsselfontein. Thank you for your courage. And thank you, Erik. And I will put that on the list for you. And we go. We've got boerenkool met worst en karnemelk met suiker.
Onward with Christopher Hinkle, Sir Gator of the North Texas Swamps in North Texas. Stan Salisbury Sr., Stan of Kingswood in Gainesville, Florida. Edward Posh in Omaha, Nebraska. Sir Patrick Coble, our knight down in the Murfreesboro area. Sir Robert Bruckner, Baron of the Desert Sprawl. Donald Wolter, Dame Rebecca Foster. Sir Dirtbag Dave. Dennis Brown. Robert Franklin.
Hold on, Dennis Brown. This is actually Shyla. She says this donation serves as an early Valentine's gift for my husband. He's an amazing partner, best friend, and father to our 2 girls. I love you, Dennis. He's well past the night, but don't tell me what his night name would be. Well, you let us know, and we'll fix that. He also will finish his studies at the end of the year. We're trying to get for baby number 3. Fingers crossed for a boy. Okay. Thank you very much, Shyla.
Robert Franklin. Allah Hamad in Dubai. Matthew Januszewski, Sir Matthew Januszewski out of Chicago. Sir Midnight of the Rivers. Michelle Dorsey. John Knowles, the Baron of Murfreesboro. He's our Baron there.
Mm-hmm.
Sean McCall, and that's the group of
121ers. Yes, very nice.
And then we got a few in between here before we get to 111, starting with Sean McCall in Bloomington, Minnesota. You need some baby making karma. We'll put that at the end. Sir, and now we have 11111, which is a different group that was never really suggested, but there it is. 11111.11. Oleg Rakatini, John Hall, Robert Reitz.
1 second about Sir Oleg. He becomes a Baron today. He would like to be Baron of Tajikistan, which I think is available.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tajikistan. Are you in Tajikistan? I'd
guess.
love to visit there.
It seems possible. Thank you very much, Sir Oleg. We got you on the title change list.
Yeah. Sir Rod in Amsterdam. Naomi Curiel in Las Vegas, Las Wages, Nevada. And then we have somebody, we're extremely long note here.
Yeah, Tom Biard. He's from Tilburg in the Netherlands. And let's see, he's from Venlo. What else does he have? He's 1111, of course, is a very important number in the Netherlands. It's the getal. 1111 is when Carnival starts. It's a very sacred number in the lowlands. I'd forgotten about that.
Chris Daly. And Bert Beeves, and these are all 1111.11, and Bert is in White Bear. Now we have the one that was called for, which is the competitor with 121, which is $111.10, which is 111.1. Sir Torlong something I can't pronounce it quite.
Torielta.
Yeah. But anyways, the Baronet of Sonoma and Glen Ellen. Scott Penton, Scott Moore, Matt Smicinski, Jennifer Rank.
Smicinski, I think it is.
Smicinski? Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I think so. And he's got a birthday. Jennifer Rank. We got a lot of birthdays today.
Yeah.
Jennifer Rank, Stephen Kunkel, Ryan Brady, Philip Sanders, Sir Tristan Banning in Toronto. Sir Christopher Knight of the Blockchain, he's back. Sir John Fitzpatrick, Sir David Bailey, Ryan, what is this? Golzenleuchter?
Let me see. Golzenleuchter, and he becomes a knight today. So congratulations. We'll see you at the round table in a moment.
And he's in Bellingham. But these were actually Bailey and Ryan are both 100, so the 111.10s.
Ended with
I think we're beaten by the 121s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ned Moore for sure.
Yeah, by a lot. So there you have it. for some competition that doesn't exist.
Julian
Barlow, $99.66.
This is a new number for me. This is a tits and ass donation.
Yeah, I see that.
When I look at the number, now I see it too.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Thanks.
Wouter Janmaat.
Very good, Wouter Janmaat.
$88.90. Randolph Deidel in Arvada, Colorado, $73.73. Michael Astfalk in Berlin, Deutschland.
He will become
$68.82.
He will become Sir Michael Knight on the Recumbent as an 1111 euro knight. Congratulations. See you in a moment.
Brian Pearson, 6666. Michael Ballard, 6006. Small tits. Dallastown, Pennsylvania. The nexus of small breasts. John Lisinski, Wellington, Florida, 55. Sorry. BioLife member Drury, 5454. Or 5444. Sir Jonathan of the Double-Bladed Paddle in Maplewood, Missouri, 5432. Eric Schmidt, 5150. Surviving the Media in Sugar Hill, Georgia, 5111. Anthony Rodriguez, Tucson, Arizona, 5111. James Davis, 5051, and he's in Redford, Michigan. Anonymous, 5033, loves the show. Mark Dunford, 5011 in Waco. Baronet Sir Economic Hitman, 5001, parts unknown. And he has a birthday coming up.
I'll do Philip Watson, who I believe becomes a knight today. Yes, and complete my knighthood at the No Agenda Roundtable. Been listening to your show since the mid-100 episodes or so. Can't recall which one I started with. Your show has been informative, insightful, and entertaining, which is a very rare combination these days. I'd like the title of Sir Finbird, Knight of the Reunion Tower. And we will definitely get you a money shot jingle before we continue to the table. So Philip from Garland, Texas, congratulations. See you at the
he's a
roundtable.
$50 donor, and their following people are all $50 donors, just name and location. Drew Mochak in El Cerrito, California. Roy Tenhava in Pijnacker, Netherlands. Megan Mueller in Champaign, Illinois. Mueller. Robert Decanay in Fairfax, Virginia. Michael Wingett in West Allis, Wisconsin. Tony Smith in Fort Worth, Texas. Larry Hay in Mooresville, North Carolina. Joshua Parker in Austin, Texas, right down the street from you, as a matter of fact. Viscount Sir Alan Bean, who had a little note I'm going to read. I just put it in there. He says, a couple of women I work with call me Sir Alan. I haven't told them I'm a Viscount. I tried hitting a few of the men in the mouth, but to no avail. Not quite sure what the meaning of that note is. Could be code. And finally, last but not least on the list is Sir Kyle Meyer in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to thank all these folks for really helping out today, putting us well over the top, and contributing to the celebration we call Show 1111.
Yes, and thanks to everyone who came in under $50. We had tons of 11.11. That is incredibly appreciated. Thank you all so much. You make it work. It worked. The system works. The Value for Value Network. Don't need no stinking transmitters. Don't need no Spotify's, Pandoras. All we need is our producers who keep us honest, keep us fed, and keep us on the right track. Thank you. Another show will be here on Thursday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Lots of karma's needed.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You thought karma.
It's your birthday. On No Agenda.
And here's our birthday list for today, February 10th, 2019. Happy birthday in advance to the following people. Well, actually, belated. Jordan Goodfellow celebrated on the 11th. Michael celebrates tomorrow on the 11th. Michael Sosnin turned 48 yesterday. Margaret Schultz says happy birthday to her smoking hot boyfriend, Dennis Garcia, turning 32. We've got Matt Lensinski saying happy birthday to his father, Michael Lensinski. Lensinski turned 55 today. Congratulations to you, sir. And Baronet Sir Economic Hitman Alex says happy birthday to Laura Beatty, turns 19 today. And we say happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Woo! Woo! We have 5 nightings to do. So there's my blade. If I can have yours.
Yeah, here it comes.
Very nice. Okay. Up on stage, I need Carl Johnson, Erik Groenewoud, Ryan Gulsenleuchter, Michael Astfalk, and Philip Watson. Gentlemen, all of you become members of the No Agenda Roundtable today. I'm very proud to pronunciate thee by their knight names. We have Sir Type-A-Lot the Sonoron, Sir Eric the Night Throne Knight, Sir Ryan Gulsenleuchter, Sir Michael Knight of the Recumbent, and Sir Finbird Knight of the Reunion Tower. For you, gentlemen, hookers and blow, rent boys and Chardonnay, boerenkool met worst, carne milk with suiker, warm beer and cold women, waifus and waffles, beer and blunts, redhead and rise, vodka and vanilla, bong hits and bourbon, ginger ale and gerbils, breast milk and pablum, geishas and sake, and mutton and mead. We've got
Okay.
I was going to say we have the rings. You've seen them. People have been tweeting them. So please, our new knights, go to noagendanation.com/rings and give Eric the Shill your info, and you too will be able to tweet very soon. I have one title change. Do you need to do something before that?
No, I forget about the title change.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
One today on the title list, the Peerage Committee will now reflect the following change. So Oleg Rakitin becomes the Baron of Tajikistan. Congratulations, Baron. We salute you from afar. All right. What did you have?
I got a note in the email from Vasilos of Annapolis, Maryland, one of our associate executive producers, that we couldn't find a note for.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to read the note since he's do a note read and a couple of jingles we can throw at the end.
All right.
And I'll tell you what they are before I read.
Okay.
Boom shakalaka. I'm triggered, so triggered. I don't even know with that one. I'm triggered, so triggered. Somebody said that as a jingle.
Okay. I don't know. Keep going.
You might die.
Mm-hmm.
And low girl, yay.
Okay. Read the note.
Millennial here, first-time associate executive producers. Thanks for my first salary job. Thanks for all you do. Donation note below. Happy 1111. I want to thank you both, the listeners and producers, who support the show. I started listening in around episode 960 after getting hit in the mouth by Reddit. Oh, jeez. I've been hooked ever since. The media, well, at least that got somebody to be interested. What are these guys bitching about? Let me go check this out. The media deconstruction is for my sanity and for my work commute. To all the listeners who are still douchebags, donate. I have used the weekly subscription service to support the show and feel so much happier as a listener. Weekly subscriptions also help the show. And then he's got his requests, and I guess you can drop a karma in on him at the end. Thanks.
Boom
thanks
shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, and boom shakalaka.
I am triggered. I'm
you
so
might
triggered.
Die.
Yay!
Got most
You've
of them.
got karma.
Close enough. I don't know this triggered one.
Yeah. I didn't either, quite honest. Just what?
I am triggered.
I think that's going to be our ISO for the end of show.
Oh.
Yeah, no, your laugh was not all that great.
No, it was applause.
Applause. No, I mean,
it's applause for the long 1111 show.
I get to determine a few things.
I know that, but I'm saying maybe somebody could send in $700 and call the shots on these things.
All right. Let's see. I do have a few things. Oh yes, this is the future of Austin, people. The keeper and I are looking at moving out. Looks like we're going to be successful. Maybe the next 2 months, moving out of downtown for sure, moving eastward. But I think that yes.
Yeah. Is this good? To move, I thought you liked downtown. You could go down, you go to the library, and go to all the clubs, a lot of clubs and restaurants. It's a jumping little area, right? Or no?
Well, it depends. If you don't mind being assaulted by vagrants trying to dodge scooters coming up, e-scooters on the sidewalk that you can't hear, and all of a sudden they do, and they brush past you and you're barely hitting you. If you want all that, step around the dog crap everywhere. Yeah, downtown is great. No, it's a total shithole. Thank you, Mayor Adler. Here's your future.
Typhus outbreak in downtown Los Angeles has workers at City Hall on edge tonight after at least one employee came down with the dangerous disease. The office of Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez shared this video showing a mouse scurrying across the floor. Typhus is typically transmitted through fleas infected by rodents. There have been many reports of rats and other critters running rampant through City Hall. The city employee was diagnosed with the bacterial disease back in November. She believes she was infected at work and refuses to return to the job until City Hall East is thoroughly fumigated.
I was so sick I thought I was going to die. Who thinks of typhus? I think of typhus as something that I read about in history books.
Symptoms of typhus include fever, chills, and severe rashes. Extreme cases can be deadly. There were 142 confirmed cases of typhus in LA County last year.
What? Typhus? That's a third world disease.
You know, in the net, Holland always has these phrases that they use that stem from very long ago. And there's still something I grew up that I think kids still say today if they're mad at someone else. You say, krijg de tyfus jij. Or they would say, tyfus jong. So it would be, get typhoid, get typhus, or you're a typhus kid. These are the insults that today still stand. But they are from the Middle Ages. And they've just came all the way through. Typhus, it's insane that that's back.
142 cases in Los Angeles?
Just getting started.
Typhus?
Just getting ramped up, baby. It's fantastic. Typhoid Mary
goes well in hand with a hepatitis outbreak.
What is the Typhoid Mary legacy? Wasn't that some...
Well, typhoid fever and typhus are two different diseases.
Oh, okay. All right. So what...
I think. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Typhoid and typhus, that's maybe two different things. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but it doesn't sound...
Well, there'll be an outbreak of that next.
What is the actual bubonic plague? Shouldn't that be coming soon?
That's always been around.
But it seems so obvious that if you have this problem, and I don't know, then there's not... I mean, from time that like Stossel did a report recently, everybody's on Fox Business News or whatever.
Yeah, there's typhus fever is different than typhoid.
Yeah, Dr. Drew was in L.A. always talking about it. He said, we're going to get the plague. It's like, it's if you have a mess, if you don't have a sanitary situation,
Yeah, you got a bunch of people living on the streets like you were in the... I mean, even in Brazil, they go and they live in the favelas.
Oh, it's nuts.
We just need a shantytown. I propose turning Daly City in the Bay Area to a shantytown. That'd be great.
Daly City.
Daly City, yeah. Shantytown.
All right.
I think West Austin in your case.
West Austin, we're not going to move to West Austin. No way.
I would say that would be as far away from you as possible.
Oh, yeah.
East Austin, which is the ritzy part of town, I think. Is that right or am I wrong?
West Austin is Terrytown. It sounds like Shantytown. We can just rename it.
Yeah, turn Terrytown into Shantytown.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, well, I have the clip that updates us on Venezuela with, of course, the Democracy Now! Angle and a couple of little tidbits in here that aren't really being discussed by the gung-ho, CBS and all the rest of the pro
Maduro.
The pro-coup operations. This is an anti-coup, so you get a couple of tidbits here.
McClatchy is reporting Venezuelan authorities have uncovered 19 assault weapons, 118 ammunition cartridges, and 90 military-grade radio antennas on board a U.S.-owned plane that had flown from Miami into Valencia, Venezuela's third-largest city. The Boeing 767 is owned by a company called 21 Air, based in Greensboro, North Carolina. Argentina. The plane has made nearly 40 round-trip flights between Miami and spots in Venezuela and Colombia since January 11th, the day after Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was sworn into a second term. Bolivarian National Guard General Endes Palencia of Ortiz said, quote, "This material was destined for criminal groups and terrorist actions in the country, financed by the fascist extreme right and the government of the United States." Quote, "This comes as the United States is openly pushing for the toppling of Maduro's government." On Thursday, the new U.S. Special Envoy to Venezuela, Elliot Abrams, ruled out any negotiations with President Maduro.
Maduro has proven he will manipulate any call for negotiations to his advantage, and he has often used so-called dialogues as a way to play for time. We urge all involved to deal solely with the legitimate Guaido government. The time for dialogue with Maduro has long passed.
Elliot Abrams is a right-wing hawk who was convicted in 1991 for lying to Congress during the Iran-Contra scandal, later pardoned by President George H.W. Bush.
That guy flies way low under the radar.
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the action where, this looks like this could be a little more complex than we hoped.
Not quite as slick as we all expected it to be, eh?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We'll see. They got to get they got to get the defections. If they don't get the defections, it's got to be
they need 'em.
I predicted on Thursday it'd be within the next week.
Yeah, he called for him. He called for a guy.
Yeah,
the general, one of the generals.
But we're not seeing anything, so we'll see what happens. This doesn't look it's a mess. But what are you going to do? I want to say one thing before we end the show. Hey, Valentine's Day. Next Thursday's show will be Valentine's Day. Contribute to the show and call out your Valentine.
Yes. A fine ending to the show. I was going to, maybe I can tie it in by saying there's no love lost between France and Italy. And this is actually kind of big news.
Yeah, this I couldn't clip.
There's nothing to clip. I just got the news, and I just wanted to let everyone know that we're on top of it. And if we have any more boots on the ground info, we'd appreciate it. France has recalled their ambassador to Italy.
Maybe we're going to have a war between France and Italy. That'd be something.
Well, the last time this happened was 1940 when Mussolini declared war.
Yeah.
So why this exactly is such a big deal, besides the fact that, I don't know, Italy probably owes everyone, 100 billion euros?
Well, the French claim that the Italians are meddling in their affairs. Where's the evidence of this?
I don't know. But we will know more by Thursday as it starts to unravel, as the producers in the Value for Value Network give us as much information as possible. We swing that around, present it to you, and we do it all with our producers. I'll be watching the Grammys for Illuminati Moments tonight. We'll discuss. And thank you again to everybody who supported the show, not just financially, but every other way that does take place. I look forward to the artist renderings and wherever you send us. May your amygdala remain small as I bid you adieu from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. FEMA Region number 6 on the governmental maps, in the 5x9 Cludio, in the common law condo. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where at least, the clouds are coming in again. This is ridiculous. I'm John C. Dvorak.
Special thanks to Leo Lepuc, Roof Productions, Chris Wilson, and Tom Starkweather for our end-of-show mixes. Until Thursday, everybody, remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos, and such.
We're all trying to figure out, who are you? Where did you come from? And how the heck did you become the head of the Department of Justice?
There was back and forth, grandstanding, and as I call it, pettifogging.
Congressman
I'm not a puppet to repeat what you're saying. I think it is very consistent, and your inference that somehow that process was corrupted or corrupt is absolutely wrong, and the premise of your question I reject.
Mr. Attorney General, we're not joking here.
Supposedly, oops, I'm sorry. Back to theatrics again. The curtain opened up and we found out what was really going on. No, we want to damage the president.
Considering that the acting attorney general was previously the pitch man for a fraudulent company that sold toilets and time machines. So he didn't put his best foot forward for sure.
I don't know if your time's been restored or not.
Mr. Attorney General, we're not joking here.
Mr. Chairman, I see that your 5 minutes is up, and so I'm here voluntarily. We have agreed to 5-minute rounds.
There are many Americans throughout the country who are confused. I'm confused. I really am.
Oh, you're right. 11. I love 11. I'm always seeing 11 on the clock.
11. I blast out the ghastly contents of philosophically whited sepulchres and laugh with sardonic wrath.
So you got to make a wish. We see the 11.
On a Sunday afternoon, Adam is more interested in the troll room. I can't imagine anything better. You get shit-faced and wait for the zephyr while recording, no agenda, boozing. Watch the mud flats in the sun, boozing. Now the donation segment's done. We've wrapped the show, I've finished with Twitter. Bitch about donations in the coming newsletter. And I don't have to reboot my router, boozing.
Jeff Bezos.
Where did you get that laugh? My laugh is something that I have had since I was the tiniest child. There was a time when my brother and sister would not go see a movie with me because it was too damn embarrassing. I would make like a great Ed McMahon, sit there on the sofa and just laugh at all their jokes, and it would be very genuine. I turned out to be easily amused.
Best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA